pants on this time.
It's a thing, though. It's a thing. Because...
He wants to start us off.
This is how this works, Rick.
Oh, you're the intro guy?
Yeah, I'm the intro guy.
Alright, well, fuck.
Welcome back to On and Off the Mat. For today, we have Professor Rick Davis, Academy Black Belt, Leg Lock Extraordinaire.
And by the way, we're off the mat.
And we are off the mat. Get this shit off me, man.
In case you couldn't figure it out. Nobody's
I like sour stuff. I like sweet stuff.
Holy shit, Rick.
That's one of 3 shelves.
I gotta come over and drink with you, bud.
You're invited.
You got like technique. Like you're way ahead of me.
Where's the trace at, man? Where's the trace?
Oh,
we got the buffalo
that's the
trace.
whole thing, huh?
Are you talking like regular buffalo trace?
No, I think they do it like that single.
We've got Blanton's and
trying to
Rip
be like
Van
Joe?
Winkle and George T. Stagg and Stagg Jr.
They
You know what we should do?
What should we do?
We should do like a thing with this, with whiskey and the hot tub.
Yeah,
that Steve has.
Yeah, I'm down. But then Rick is gonna beat him up.
Fuck yeah, dude! Get it on
In
film.
the hot tub.
I'm not gonna beat Steve up. I just had to tell hm I was gonna beat him up because he fucking ghosted me at a tasting.
I mean, that's the best part. Is now he's got the guilt.
When's it coming?
Yeah. There's no need to beat him up. His fucking, what did you read, Art of War or something?
Twitching.
It's his.
He won without fighting.
You
Should have put it in his pants.
Rick Davis. What's up, man?
Not much. How y'all doing?
I'm laughing my ass off back here because we haven't had somebody with this much hilarity in them.
Yeah, Jason on.
Hey, Jason's
Yeah.
funny. Jason's funny.
That
Yeah.
motherfucker's 3 times as funny as I am. Twice as handsome.
You guys have
You got about half the dong.
See, just slightly varying senses of humor.
Mhm.
I would say.
Yep.
Mine's a smidge on the dark side. And we got a special guest today. We got Barry White off camera. Yeah, give us a couple bars, Barry. Oh, the hell you ain't. Listen to them tones.
Oh man.
Damn, I need to get in a jacuzzi right now.
That's why I sound so soft on the other ones, so quiet, because I'm trying to sound like him, but all that happens is my volume
Oh
goes
yeah,
down.
no, I get it. Gary's got a good voice. He came through good.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's all that teaching kids and taekwondo and all that stuff.
Yeah, Gary's fucking. Ah!
Yeah.
From all that,
He did that at this weekend at the camp.
all that kicking doors.
It was like waves. It was like and it just like rippled across people, and people were slowly like, what? Pretty cool. And he turned and he looked at me and he was like, cool, works here too.
That's how it used to be in judo class too, where all the commands were in Japanese, and he would scream them, and they would just get all mashed together, and eventually it would be gibberish, but you knew what to do. Because he'd have you like do breakfall practice, and you'd go left, right, rear, and he'd speed it up, and eventually he was just.
Is that where you started?
You were just trying to keep up. Yeah, judo in college.
Judo in college?
Well, so it depends. If you count pretending to be a Ninja Turtle and watching the WWF, then I started when I was like 6.
Yeah, dude, that definitely counts.
And I remember forever ago, I discovered that like a standing arm bar, like a shoulder lock works, and like a hammer lock works.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, oh shit. And then my older brother's like literally twice my size and a bit of an a-hole. And I'd fucking put his face in the cat box with a standing shoulder lock. And then I was in that spot where I was holding on to the cobra. I'm like, well, I got him now. What do you do? And so I cut him loose and ran. But
Yeah, that's probably a good idea.
that was probably a start. But yeah,
That's cool.
I dug like just wrestling with buddies and stuff as a kid. And you would make up fake moves. I had I'm the middle of 5 boys, and they're all half brothers. But we would all put each other in like fake locks, like looking back, it was kind of real stuff. But they'd put you in like calf cutters and shit. Calling it the tendon tear or something at the time.
The crossface crippler.
Pretty much, yeah. But some of that, like that standing shoulder lock, which people call a shoulder crush now, and everybody's into doing it from butterfly guard, but that works. If you can get somebody's elbow above their shoulder, they can't do anything. They can't come back up. They can't turn to face you. You pretty much own them. You can take them all the way to the ground, and then you can separate their shoulder if you decide to. But so that was cool. That was a big moment. But getting into like grappling proper was in college. Like sophomore year of college, I ran into a guy in an English class, and they did karate classes and judo classes out of the college. He's like, hey, you should come check these out. And he ended up, he was kind of a rad dude too. He had a big crazy ass mustache, ended up becoming a firefighter, worked at Tinderbox for a while. He was a big old flannel wearing, just retro kind of, crazy dude.
So you ran into Paul Bunyan?
Kind of, sort of, yeah.
Wait, hold on. Did you do the karate classes?
I did.
What happened there?
Got my yellow belt and everything.
Oh,
I didn't dig karate. So I learned it from a woman named Julie Kirkland. And before she was a karate instructor, she used to like bust Broncos and shit. Like she's like yay tall, but she's fucking nasty. And I mean that in the most complimentary sense. But so like when she would block your punch, whatever, she'd have you throw a punch, and then she would do a karate block. I don't remember a lot of the nomenclature and stuff anymore. But she would, like I think this is a circle block or something like that, or up block, down block, all that kind of shit. We used to do the Japanese there too. I don't remember any of it. But she, you'd swear up and down she's gonna break your arm when she blocked your punch. But she'd always I'd throw punches, and my background prior to that was in boxing a little bit in high school. And so I would let my shoulder go, and she'd get up my ass about keeping my shoulder locked back when I throw a punch. I'm like, how am I going to hit them? And so karate was too rigid. There was, one way to do everything kind of a deal, and that didn't really, I wasn't into it. But judo I liked quite a bit. Because you got that whole samurai no mind thing in judo. Judo was so fast and so violent that you couldn't think about anything else, which was great for me because I've got crazy anxiety and, stage fright and shit like that, which is hard for me when I teach classes and stuff in jiu-jitsu, but I can focus on the minutia of what I'm doing enough that I can just bury myself in that and not pay attention to the fact that people are watching me. But in judo, I figured out that I couldn't think about anything else other than doing judo when I was in a judo fight, and it was cool. I did that for a while. I didn't love the rules though. You'd get stood up after you took somebody down. People would stall and roll to their belly and grab their lapel. I was like, what the fuck is that shit? So I started kind of drifting away from that because I felt like judo had its head in the sand, and it didn't have an answer for a wrestler with a decent double or single. It didn't have good answers for a lot of stuff. It didn't have a mechanism in there to close the distance and get favorable grips and that kind of stuff. There was like a gentleman's agreement in judo where you both took grips, and it's more like ballroom dancing than fighting. It probably varies from school to school, but this was like a more of an academic outfit, which is also cool because we had written tests per rank. Oh. So you would have like 100 question tests with Japanese terminology and judo history stuff, and that was dope. And then your test was mostly demo stuff and kata, so no combat component. So I did that for a while, but I got to that, the point where I was getting tired of getting stood up or not being able to do locks that I knew. And so that kind of stuff. And so I started trying to move away from judo, which I got a brown belt in before I left. Which judo ranks are a little bit weird. There's 3 brown belts that you get.
Wait, what?
So it goes white, yellow, orange, green, brown, black. And then black has umpteen degrees. Brown has 3 degrees on it. Okay. So there's baked in degrees. Mm-hmm. On belts. It's like a lot of taekwondo and stuff where there's baked in degrees on belts. So Sankyu, which is what I had, and then Nikyu and then Ikkyu are the 3 brown belts, and then after that you get Shodan, and then I don't remember the ranks above Shodan anymore.
Nidan, Sandan.
Yep. Oh, perfect. Yep. Thank you. But anyways, that's how I got my feet wet. I got sick of that. But it was good because it gave me a philosophical base. I feel like in jiu-jitsu, especially no-gi jiu-jitsu, there's no philosophy governing what anybody's doing anymore.
Everybody's
doing jiu-jitsu, but they never give any thought to like what Jew is or how that's informing what they're doing, or any of that kind of stuff. And I like governing principles and philosophy behind. And you can have your own version of Jew, or you can even choose to not be about Jew. You can be more of a catch style guy, or even do jiu-jitsu and take it to that kind of a place like Wagner, where you're just about being gritty.
Yeah.
And that's fine too, but have something that's steering the fucking boat. Stop just floating around in the bathtub.
Just doing techniques for the sake of
Goddamn,
techniques.
yeah, fucking, something should tie it all together. You should have some kind of governing methodology or something that's steering you.
For the people who never had that broken down, jiu-jitsu, what does that mean?
So, Judo and Jiu-Jitsu are effectively kind of the same thing. Judo, spelled J-U-D-O. Ju is J-I-U or J-U. It doesn't make a difference. I don't know why the variants exist, if I'm going to be completely honest. But it's gentle, which doesn't mean gentle at all. People get hung up on that too. And then Do is way and Jitsu is art. So take your pick, right? It's like, seem pretty interchangeable too.
Yeah.
We could go way down this rabbit hole. All of Judo is stolen from Jiu-Jitsu to begin with, and then they just cherry-picked certain techniques out and then rigged a competition to become the national martial art for Japan, and we were off to the races.
We got two things. Well, he and I have.
You're going to have to tell me to shut up, because I'll...
We have plenty of time, and you and I have plenty of whiskey.
Let's do This is apple juice.
Yes.
Right,
Same color.
Right. Apple juice. Apple juice.
And I have a Davidoff Churchill Dark Hour waiting for me at home that I should have brought.
Yeah, I wish I would have been able to grab a couple of cigars.
If I'd have known you guys were about it, I would have invited more people to that tasting. The tickets were up there, but in cigars alone, you got $60 worth of cigars.
Oh, shit. That's a lot of cigars.
And then four pours of bourbon, and then 5 appetizers that were very nice from Andrea's, which is a really nice place. And I actually got to meet a dentist who was seated next to me, who was a super cool guy, and he was looking to get into something.
Sick.
And I was like, I know a place. And he was like, I need to be able to make a living. I'm not going to get trashed. And I'm like, nope.
That's one of like the...
Just come in and let them know what you're trying to do and what you're about, and they'll take care of you to that that degree. If you want to go in and be hard, absolutely, you'll get a hard run for your money, and you might get beat up. But
he's a dentist. Face cranks all day.
DMD.
It's right across the street.
Well, that's fine.
Right across.
He makes his living with these. You can,
Oh yeah, we just can't.
he's not rubbing his face on somebody's cavity.
Well, you gotta set a good example, though, right?
But he seemed like a really cool dude, and that is one of the things that I love about jiu-jitsu. And I even brought it up when I got my Faixa Preta. Nobody knows what that is in 10th Planet. That's a black belt.
Yeah.
In Portuguese.
Portuguese.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Carajo.
Today we have Professor Hick Davies.
Hickson. I had Kai call me Hickson for a long time.
Really?
Yeah.
That's cool.
Kai was a bad dude. I'm disappointed you missed out on him.
Yeah.
He was my main competitor in like the jiu-jitsu arms race.
Mm-hmm.
He's every bit as good as me or Gary. I would say he's better, but...
I only got to meet him twice.
And he has very classical, non-gimmicky jiu-jitsu. He's just fucking good.
Orlando tells a funny story about him where he was like, Orlando would go out to get the mail, because I guess Kai lived across the street.
Okay, I was like, this is already getting kind of spicy, but
and Orlando
he'd roll over and nudge Kai, and Kai would get up out of bed.
Kai would be out in his front yard, like with no shoes on, just shorts and no shirt.
Oh yeah.
In the middle of their neighborhood.
Oh, he's Hawaiian as fuck.
Yeah, and I was like, well, that's how we do it in Hawaii, man. Nobody ever wears a shirt. And Orlando was like, I just think that's crazy. He would say he would yell.
That's like
put a shirt on, man.
Like that stereotype about white people when they take a shower, they don't use a washcloth on the bar of soap and that kind of shit.
Look, I don't know what white people that do.
I got a loofah on a stick, bro.
You got the stick so you can reach your back.
I'm getting old. Yeah, I can't.
Use the washcloths on.
Hey, wait.
I can't.
So,
I was brought up to use a washcloth.
Same.
But I'm also from the hood, so. You take that for what it's worth. I grew up in the Chase housing projects in O'Fallon, and then I went to high school in North County, St. Louis. So
It was a thing on TV or something where they said some people don't wash their ass with soap.
I know Dave Chappelle did a skit on it where they did they were making fun of like the spouse swapping shows, but they had it be a white family and a black family.
Yeah.
It was funny.
So, how long until you met Kai or started training with Kai?
Kai I met pretty far along. I didn't meet him until I got hooked up here
Okay.
with Gary.
Because I know he was over there.
I knew,
in the
I think
for a
I might
while.
have known of him on some level, the same way I knew about Gary,
Mm-hmm.
being out of Mike's place.
Okay.
But you and me came out of the same place, and we were out of the same clutch of blue belts that came out of there,
Mm-hmm.
which I was just a tough group of people.
Yeah.
You guys were at
It's different.
Trifecta?
Yeah, close enough. That's fine.
Yeah.
We don't need to talk about it.
No.
You did that.
We were out of the Voldemort school.
The Voldemort school.
We don't need to. He who shall not be named.
Yeah, man, that's the thing. Didn't we get our blue belts around the same time?
We were out of the same batch.
Yeah.
And I feel like that first batch. I mean, not to take anything away from all the subsequent ones, but that was just the
No,
the nastiest pack of people.
I feel the same way. Even the people who weren't like on the competition team or whatever.
I think pretty much everybody out of that group was. I think I was the exception.
You did Seth take longer to get his
Seth
belt?
was the next round.
Okay.
Seth took it and didn't make it.
Yeah, that's right.
He also dislocated my shoulder.
But like, but nobody on that team would argue that you were, you know.
I was in a weird spot in that place where I was like on the cusp of the competition team, and I never did quite drink the Kool-Aid that was being
Yeah.
passed around
Which,
in there.
you know, to be honest, it's probably good.
Yeah. Well, I was probably a little old to drink the Kool-Aid. This is getting spicier by the second, but you take that a couple ways. But
Well, I mean, we can veer hard lefts and say, "Can you strangle a chimp?"
Well, talking about like different schools and things like that, we did have a question.
Oh.
And it is from Steve.
yeah, you're gonna have to keep me
is this
on
from
topic.
This is a question from Steve from one of our past episodes. He said that was a great episode, but can we discuss the stigma of multi-gym training?
So that's kind of a relic of the past.
Can you read this for you?
But I mean, I looked that word up. Creole thing, is that what that's
Uh,
Isn't that like a Brazilian thing?
it's a reference to a Brazilian soap opera,
Okay.
and it effectively means like cheater.
Ah.
It's training at another school other than your home school. You're effectively cheating on your team and your coach. Really old school, hardcore Brazilian outfits think that way, or at least they used to. I haven't been a part of one of those for.
Even when it was like a Gracie to a Gracie school?
Mhm.
Oh, wow.
Yeah,
Because that's you. So
they get butthurt.
you have to think about the culture that it's coming from.
Right.
Right? Like, I never understood that. A lot of. I don't want to make broad generalizations and, like, offend anybody, but some cultures are proud cultures and they'll fucking stick their chest out, and if you call them a name, you're in for a fist fight. Kai kind of had that gene, which I never understood. You've got it, right? I'm talking about my original Kai, but
Right.
you're Kai 2.0. Younger,
I wish I was that good.
worse.
Younger but worse.
But he had that same thing where if you ran your mouth, you were gonna get checked, and I was like, you can call me anything you want all day long, short of you swinging on me and not stopping. I don't care. Keep talking. Tire yourself out. And I've even been punched in the face, and then he just hit me the once, and then he was done, and I was like, you good? And he was like, yeah. All right. I'm not getting expelled.
That's good shit.
I don't understand that. I mean, I understand it, but I can't relate to it.
Right. The back end of that, he says, not a think, and I'm pretty sure
He meant
it's not
saying
a thing with,
he just needs to stop putting up stuff up there when he's drinking or whatever.
yeah.
Since
It's not a thing whenever I drop in at non-10 people.
Not
drop in at 10 people.
so much a thing in American jiu-jitsu schools or American Brazilian jiu-jitsu schools, and it's kind of like I said before, a relic of a older time.
Yeah.
People are more open to cross training, especially if it's just like a drop-in or something like that. 10th Planet has never really had that problem, but they're kind of on a different wavelength.
Everybody here is autistic.
I'm sorry, what?
No, going on with other questions.
What did you say?
Mike from Instagram said that the worst heel hookers are the newly, I guess it's a statement more than it is a question. He said worst heel hookers are newly promoted blue belts. Those motherfuckers will break your shit with no remorse.
I mean, that's accurate and inaccurate all at the same time. They're sloppy, right? They don't understand what they're doing. They don't know what the bad spots are, versus what the good ones are when they've got somebody and they don't. That being said, if you're getting heel hooked by somebody like that, you should probably take a hard look in the mirror and like you're doing some real not great shit if you're getting caught by people with that level of technique.
I agree.
I've never met a blue belt that was shitty for the sake of being shitty or remorseless, and I've been busted up by a bunch of blues and whites where I'm on this repeating really shitty merry-go-round where I'll give a white belt or a blue belt room to work and they'll do some wild left field shit and cripple me. I've got both my hands are fucked up, my knees fucked up, my ankles fucked up, my neck's terrible, and it's all been from a white or a blue. I have the majority of my subs anymore are from leg locks. I think heel hooks are probably a dominant percentage of that now, probably somewhere around 80%. And I've never hurt anybody ever, which is wild to me, because it's this devastating move that you can't do it. You're gonna maim somebody, and I've probably probably done like 1,000.
I feel like you've done more than that.
And I've never hurt anybody ever, not once. Never popped a knee.
I think it also has to do with more over like.
Well, part of it's a philosophical thing. Back when I was a blue belt and we were doing gi jiu-jitsu, I got a bad reputation for being just nasty. And then what it was is I was too focused on getting the sub. If he would leave something hang out, I was on it. I would chomp that shit off like a shark. And then I got this reputation where people didn't want to roll with me, and I was forbidden from rolling with certain people because it was understood that I would fucking kill them. And so I didn't care for that. Like, that didn't feel good for me. And so I went back and kind of reassessed my stuff, where I was like, all right, well, if I'm having to jump on it that hard or take it like that, I probably shouldn't be taking it at all. And I need to be slowing stuff down and getting it to where they can't do anything about it. And then I can take it at my speed. We can both walk away fine. And so that realigned my whole priority thing. And I've taken that into heel hooks too. Yeah. Heel hooks are the same way, where if you can jump on them when they pop up and just run with it, and then that's when you end up hurting people, or you can chase them down and corner them and get them in a spot where they can't do anything. I like to do that, especially big strong dudes, and then tickle their feet.
Yeah.
Because it doesn't hurt them, but to me it's funny, and it lets them know, like, you can't do shit. This is where you're at now.
You live here with me.
And then they'll pretty much, right? Like, you get to go where I say you go. And that's part of the fun thing about leg locks, is that if you can get started and you know what you're doing, it robs the other person of almost all of their athleticism.
Would you say that leg locks are cheats?
Yes.
Yeah.
So the way that I frame up leg locks for people that don't understand what I think we have a moving company outside or something.
I think somebody left.
Damn right they left. Right. So, but the way that I contextualize it for people that are like, why do I need to know leg locks, or should I worry about them, or whatever? And we're in America, so I use American football, but if you wanted to use soccer or anything, you could use any kind of 2-end zone, 2-goal game, but I usually stick to football. And I'm like, so imagine we're playing football. We line up like we're playing football. I can score in your end zone. This guy probably knows a little bit about playing football. You played, right? No?
No, dude.
Somebody fucking missed out, man. you might be on a full ride somewhere right now. Got some NFL coach is salivating somewhere. He don't know why. But so playing football, and I was the same way. I didn't do any high school athletics or anything. I'm one of the least athletic people you'll ever meet.
He wrestled.
I did. Who did?
He wrestled.
Well, it's goddamn right he did. Look at him. Holy shit. Probably for the WWF. I wish we had you on camera, because this doesn't make. We need to like get a picture of him to paste in at some point.
You were pretty fucking big.
You might be. So I've been doing this for close to 15 years, and you are the strongest person I have ever met.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
That's not great, dude. That's not great. away.
Oh yeah, because you are that strong.
Yeah, dude, you don't feel that.
No, you get away with fucking murder.
I quit lifting weights since I started doing this kind of stuff. I feel weaker.
I doubt it, but I mean maybe like versus what your weightlifting PRs and stuff, but I'll bet you your functional strength is still
Yeah, that's probably
going up. But you're ridiculous, which is it's good for you because it gives you a big head start. You just have to be careful that you don't let that retard your development because you don't have to be technical because you can get away with murder.
Take Adelaide.
Because
He's also really technical.
Pretty-
Guy. He works at the jail.
Does he work at a jail?
Yeah, well,
He's a prison guard.
Oh, all right.
Yeah.
How can he?
Mike weighs what, 360? How much you weigh, Dwight?
380.
230.
Yeah, it's a big difference.
Like compared to me.
Oh yeah, but your
But his functional
strength is
different, yeah.
you're much stronger than he
He
is.
moves Mike away from him. Mike,
Yeah.
Once Mike knows how to use his weight, that'd be
So
Wait, before we go there, go back to your analogy with playing football.
thank you. So I equate leg locks to you're playing football, and if you're doing like classical jiu-jitsu or any pin-based submission art, right? Because we could just assume catch wrestling or sambo or whatever. It's all the same idea where you're getting them on the deck, you're getting by their legs, you're pinning them, and then you're putting them in some kind of lock that will either incapacitate or maim or whatever. So we're both trying to get, we'll take turns being offense, defense. We're trying to kind of march down the field, eventually get into the end zone, okay, close the game out. Now, if I do leg locks and you don't, or you don't understand them, the game changes to where I can now score in my end zone too, right?
Yeah.
And if you're playing regular jiu-jitsu, you're still lining up the same. So we get our line of scrimmage, and we both line up, we got our linemen and shit. I hike the ball, and I just turn around and fucking run this way. And that's pretty much what it, if you don't have any comprehension of it, and I do, and I know classical jiu-jitsu or judo or wrestling, I still have to have something. Okay, if I'm straight leg locks, then we're still just playing football.
That's what I wanted to ask you.
Because I'm still just going the one way, and it's very predictable.
It's like a lot of
So it doesn't really change anything. And so if that's all you can do and you're a one-trick pony, it's not going to be that great for you because you'll run up. It takes very little to shut down leg locks if you understand them. Like anything else. But if you can do both and they can't, it becomes comedic to watch them try and do anything about it. Because it is really just like that analogy where we all get down in our 4-point stance and we all line up and stuff. Thanks for the save.
Mm-hmm.
And then hike the ball and then you just turn around and peace out.
What happens if one person knows legs but they can't get to the person's legs?
So if you can't get to the person's legs, you don't know legs. Because that's part and parcel of it.
There are people that are really good at legs, but they don't know
Then they're not good at legs.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
The entries are the first thing you should learn. Because that's really, along with everything else, it's sweeping and guard passing opportunities if you use them right. The first thing I ever tried to do was to get into the spots in just a crew ride time. Just make it to where you couldn't get out. And then when you started to escape, I'd stick you back in. And then off of that, I learned how to sweep and pass with it, which if somebody's got your leg, it's really hard to stop them from passing if they understand how to do that too. Because again, it robs you of your athletic capacity. All of our strength and stuff is generated from the ground, and now you have this dude on your leg, so you lose your access to the ground. He probably still has it, but you don't. At the very least, you've got one boot on you. Yeah, if they can't, and that's part of the other thing too, is if all you're doing is going for legs, it becomes real predictable what you're after, and therefore I can really easily hide my legs from you. I can lead with my chest and my head and that kind of stuff and make my legs inaccessible, especially if I can wrestle. Or I've even seen dudes who were going up against Eddie Cummings, and this is funny, where he laid on his back and put his torso and his head towards the guy and had his legs this way. And I want to say Eddie just choked him or something, but that's where the other half comes in, where you have to give something up to hide your legs from me. And so assuming that I know how to swim both ends of the pool, that will also cost you. And then when you address that thing, you have to bring your legs back to me most of the time. And so I'll get to them sooner or later. I'll make you forget. But yeah, you can't be a one-trick pony. Because as soon as they figure out what that one trick is, they're going to solve it, and it's not going to work anymore, and then you're going to be stuck.
Yep.
And even within leg locks, that's true. You can't just have an outside heel hook or just have a straight ankle lock or any of that kind of stuff. You need a system. Because otherwise I can just turn my foot this way, and then you don't have shit, and then I'll stare at you. In fact, I do it to people all the time.
He does it to me. That shit is
we're seeing that towards the upper levels of grappling, where you're not seeing them so much because everybody is catching up. I was lucky enough that I caught a little bit of like the wave of ignorance that happened initially. Well, lucky and unlucky, right? Because it was real hard to find material, and we were kind of figuring this. We don't have somebody to pull stuff from in that regard out here, except for, it was just kind of me and Gary, and we were just making the shit up. So.
But it works.
Oh yeah, no, so I had to go find stuff. So the first place I went was Sambo. I started looking up a bunch of Riley Bodycomb stuff and learning all that. That was where a lot of the foundation of my leg lock game came from. Which I think if somebody's told me it's weird before, and that's probably why. And that I learned the kind of the sweep and pass and stuff off of the leg entanglements from that too. But that only gets you so far. And then I looked at Josh Hayden had the 80-20 stuff that he was kind of pushing, again, when people didn't really know what was going on, and 80-20 was like one of the penultimate positions that you could be in. It's not really that great anymore, right? We're on to 90-10 or inside Senkaku or outside Senkaku, whatever the fuck they're calling it, whatever Lachlan has chosen to name it. It's 90-10 where I come from, which is here.
I was going to say, where do you come from?
Parts unknown. But yeah, it's been I've had to study pretty in depth, something like 8 or 10 different people to get to the point that I'm at. And it was really, really hard to find a good explanation of breaking mechanics for a very long time. That was the thing that nobody, either they didn't understand it like they do now, or they just weren't giving it away. I don't know which one it was, but you could not find good explanations of how to finish and control a heel hook. You were getting like the version that we originally got at the Hogwarts school for
basically
black magic. Yeah, just put your back to the ground as hard as you can with this grip.
And just yank and crank, yoink.
That guy was on last week.
Yeah.
Have you guys seen that? It's a meme, and it's got Trent Reznor from 9 Inch Nails on it. And it's him, I guess, talking to like a concert crowd, and it's got text on there. He's like, "Hey, everybody ready to have a good time tonight?" He's like, "Well, too fucking bad, because that was the last band. We're here to have a bad time." And then at the bottom it says like ominous synth note or something like that.
Yeah. I haven't seen that.
I need to dig it up.
It's hard to practice that. Anyways.
Well, right, and that's the same. We were talking about, you guys mentioned a neck breaker or something like that to me a little while ago.
Yeah.
And I'm like, can I see you do that to somebody?
No.
And that's kind of, if you go back far enough, and I'm lucky enough to have kind of been around in the foundational stages of jiu-jitsu in America, at least, at some capacity, right? Because we first kind of saw it in the UFC, and I was grappling while that was going on, so that was kind of neat. I lost my train of thought. It's gone now. I had such a great point to make.
It sucks when that happens. I know exactly how that feels. You're on a train, you're making your way to something, and all of a sudden it just shuts off.
Damn, somebody just threw the switch.
Yeah.
Did you quit watching like WWF when you started actually?
Oh, yeah, no, I can't. Hey, yeah. Oh my God, get that in there.
You got it?
Yeah.
Oh, no, well,
No.
similar but different. Similar concept.
Oh
We're here to
no.
have a bad time.
And he was like, well, that was the last fucking band. We're here to have a bad time. And I like it. It spoke to me on a deep level. So I was like, I feel like that's how people feel when they come to my classes, or when they came to them back when I had them. I was like Trent.
Those are great.
Everybody would walk in and they were excited and they were going to learn jiu-jitsu or something, especially like somebody who had never met me. They were all like jazzed to learn some stuff. I was like, everybody excited to be here? You ready to have a good time? Well, this is the wrong fucking class. We're here to have a bad time.
Or you used to teach like drills.
I ran a bunch of different, a plethora of classes here, if you will.
There we go.
I did that for you. I'm a fan of your work.
Thanks.
Plethora sounds cooler.
Plethora, it's, interchangeable. It depends on where you... A veritable cornucopia of technique. I ran, back when we used to do the 10th Planet warm-ups classes, I taught those. And then past that, I became the advanced class guy.
Mm-hmm.
It seemed like I couldn't get away from it.
That was.
It was advanced for a while, then it was a strictly leg locked class. I think it kind of oscillated back and forth between those. And then eventually the world caught on fire, and I stepped away because I work at a hospital. And it felt irresponsible for me to go back and forth between the two because I walk through an ICU when I'm at work. And then down here, you're rubbing your face on people and shit, headbutting dentists and all that kind of stuff. And so it just didn't seem like the move. So I think it was like 2 years off. I don't remember how long it was. A year and change, maybe.
Yeah.
So you were teaching advanced classes. Do you have an opinion on what advanced jiu-jitsu would look like, as far as learning from a learning perspective?
It's advanced,
or from a teaching perspective.
I feel like you're trying to ask a different question than the question that you're asking, but I'll answer what you're asking.
Okay, that sounds great.
Advanced is a matter of the level of detail.
Okay.
There aren't beginner versus advanced techniques.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, there are, but that's not, you can teach any technique in an advanced fashion. It's just how detailed you get. Do you plug in common resistances into your teaching? Because once you're showing something past a certain level, I like to include 1 or 2 common defenses that you're going to run into and have shutting those down be part of the drill.
So
like I would do a lot of leg stuff where I would have them take your foot off of their hip and hop over your foot, and then you would do a secondary re-entangle or attack.
Or as beginner, it'd be like, hey, this is Ashi. Here's how you kind of sort of try to keep it. And then advanced would be like, they're going to do this, so here's how we troubleshoot
pretty much,
that.
and the details are grosser.
Mm-hmm.
The moves are bigger. That kind of stuff. Yeah, you're just going for the broad strokes. Just like if you... and there are beginner techniques because there's ones that will still function without all those details in there. They just become better and more effective against larger, stronger people as you plug more stuff in. But like an armbar, you can do a really shitty armbar and still get the job done. Are you getting warm, buddy?
Yeah, I actually am getting warm. There's more bodies in here now.
Oh, did you turn that off?
Freight train I'm sitting next to.
I'm glad to have you
You're
here.
getting a haircut?
Look at how saggy he's getting.
You gotta get an edge, man.
Oh,
He's-
sorry, I
he's-
had my glasses on. I was like, you ain't got no up there.
He's either got to get some braids put in there or get it taken off. He's at that point.
If he gets braids in there.
Again, we super need a picture of you.
He needs to be in there
Go
somehow.
sit in between them, dude. Just try and sit in between.
Yeah, tries. It's probably appropriate. Here,
Just so that
I'll
everybody
squish myself over to the side a
Everybody
little
can see what
bit.
we're talking
You can
about.
just sit on
Look
a...
at how
Look
tall
at
this dude. Look at how big he is.
the size of
Look at
this guy.
Let's be on fair though. On camera, he doesn't look that big.
Oh,
Like,
Jesus
I
Christ.
I know that he is much big. Well, no, yeah, you actually do. You do look a lot bigger.
I also...
Yeah.
I have to comment, his arms are real smooth.
The lotion.
Yeah, baby.
Yeah, man.
I'm getting some of that secondary cocoa butter on me.
This is our.
All right, we'll turn you loose. I appreciate you coming over.
One of our
Just
two
so that
biggest
people
guys.
know what I'm talking about.
Something I really appreciate about you, Dwight, though, is that, like, can you be strong and Americonomy from probably anywhere?
Inside of your clothes guard.
Yeah, it's just awful. I hate that that's a thing. Yeah, but you've learned how to kind of like dial that back and learn what actual jiu-jitsu is. So I appreciate that.
He gets me on bottom side, and I get the underhook. And as I'm coming out with the underhook, he hangs onto my head and taps me with the headlock.
Oh, it's
And I'm
awful.
like, this isn't how this is supposed to go.
Yeah, find stuff like next to it. That'll help a lot.
Just drags you right back into
I was
whatever
like,
he
hey,
wants.
Do that reverse bylock pass, and he does it to Andrew 3 times in a row and slides directly into Scar every single time. I was like, there we go. There's 2 things you like. We went over at the camp.
I would say you have to be advanced class how you teach where to hold the hand. Like, this rear neck and choke.
Oh, yeah.
Choke,
Yeah.
That's more advanced until what happened and how to dig in.
Yeah, the detail just gets excruciating.
Yeah.
I think too, something that I really appreciate about the way that both of you guys teach. I don't remember who.
I was like, I don't know if have you been in any of my classes?
Yeah.
I used to come to your Wednesday classes, but
I
I would
remember
sit in
that.
the corner.
How many
doing
would you say you made?
5.
If I ever said that
Okay.
you had to
I would
sit in the
say 3.
corner because you were a white belt, I was joking.
No. I would just sit.
Because that's some shit I would say.
It is.
I would
No,
tell you
you
that
guys-
you have to wait outside for a week with no food or water.
You guys use the reverse method, where you start like fully locked up in something, and then you teach backwards from there?
Sometimes.
Yes.
Yeah.
Depends on the thing.
You would do that with. I remember a class specifically that you did that with heel hooks, and I was like, "This is how you teach people how to actually break the leg without having to put 1,000% into it."
Yes. Yeah, if you do it correctly, it takes nothing.
That's what they were saying at the seminar. You want to do like 70 to 80.
And it doesn't hurt. It feels scary.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's what Adelaide was saying.
Adelaide has that
Saying
60% rule.
If you can't choke somebody, if you're not choking somebody at 60%, like squeeze,
Huh.
then you're doing 60, 70, then you're doing something wrong.
Arguably, probably don't even need that much.
Yeah, I mean, like
you
from a
just have to
triangle-
be confident in what you're doing and patient.
Yeah.
You know, when I was sketching myself off guards, I didn't squeeze. I'm like, I already got you. Like, if you do it the right way,
Yep.
it's like nothing at all.
And that's a big part of it. If you have that confidence where you know the shit that you're doing works, then you don't need to do that. And
Yeah.
you
Since
can
we're
start doing
also-
that catch and release
Yeah.
version of jiu-jitsu, which I think is more fun.
Already on this topic, there's this huge meta right now for buggy chokes.
I hate the buggy choke.
Yeah, I know. Mario does them.
Yeah,
However,
honestly,
To who?
Honestly,
he does them to me all the time.
it's one of those things. People are starting to figure it out. I'm like, okay, this is just a threat that I will finish if you stay there until you defend it, and then I'm trying to get my guard back.
Right. However,
I have a...
there's a lot
We're
of
going to
people
keep
getting
interrupting you,
slammed.
by the way.
There's a lot of people in certain rule sets that are getting slammed and knocked the fuck out.
Yeah.
That sounds
And then
perfect.
people like this, for instance. You guys
That's
can
it. I've
watch
seen
this
it.
real quick. Yeah, okay, we've seen it. Clearly.
Once you've seen one guy get spiked in a buggy choke,
Yeah,
you've
it's
seen
kind
them
of
all.
the same. Although that was deliberately on his back of
Clearly
his
you're not
head.
doing
Yeah.
something right.
It's cage fight.
Yeah.
You're in 80-90% squeeze. Nothing's happening. Let's let
So-
go. Do you guys agree?
So the finish for the buggy choke, I don't know if the camera can see all this. The finish for the buggy choke, people want to do this, right? Because this is supposed to make it tighter and deeper and everything.
Come on down, buddy.
But like, it's way easier to get somebody to react just doing this because they don't know what's happening. It's getting tight. They're gonna react, and then you can usually get something off of that. So I don't do this anymore because you're stuck. I'll come here so I can get out quick.
When you got me in yesterday,
I
I
got
couldn't
you.
even lift up. So I wasn't on my knees, but I couldn't even lift up at all. When you get it to me all the time.
You could if you could get your hips underneath you.
Or if you figure out posture.
If you can build your base underneath the.
I don't know. It was, yeah. It's,
Motherfuckers be figuring out
You know,
posture. And the
seriously,
whole world changes.
if you
So-
don't let me get deep enough and you just do this,
Yeah, you
I
can
can't
literally
finish.
expand your chest, and he would never be
Yeah.
able to put it together on
impossible. On you, impossible.
I just don't know what's going on. So I'm like getting guarded, and the next thing I know, I'm getting choked.
Yep.
I don't know.
you. And yeah, and there's a lot of stuff functions like that. If you ever end up inside a rubber guard, you have to consciously expand your chest and flex your core. Otherwise, you will get crushed in, and you will experience most of it like on your collarbone and neck, and it's excruciating. I've been in Gary's rubber guard
Oh, it's awful.
a lot, but you learn to make that counter force with your torso, and then it's not a big deal anymore. And this is a similar idea, and even when you feel the buggy choke coming on, you can begin to do that, and that will buy you a lot of time.
I feel like it was too late. Like as soon as I felt it, like shit, I can't lift up.
Once you got to figure out how far in you are.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But once you recognize that it's coming, and you should always kind of have a chance to do that as soon as he reaches over the back of your neck. You should be like, oh, I've seen this before.
Yeah.
So you can do that. I don't like it because it comes from a inferior position where, like, if you were to do that in a fight or something, or like the MMA example or the different rule sets where you get slammed. But let me walk this back. If you're already in bottom side control and you're going for it just as something to do from bottom side control, that's fine. And if you have sense enough to drop it before you get slammed or whatever, that's great. Thank you for being here, man.
Yeah, man.
Thanks for coming in.
Appreciate it.
I feel like I enjoyed this way more because you were here.
Oh, okay, thanks.
Sorry, come more.
He was just,
Yeah.
a nice, A, he's just a rad dude.
Yeah.
But then B, he was somebody nice to kind of deflect to a little bit and that kind of stuff.
And
Yeah.
his voice is nice to
It's
hear.
also, like, yeah, since
My
it's
darling,
it's nice to have somebody that's newer to jiu-jitsu because they have tons of questions.
Mm.
But then when you have somebody as scary as he is,
Yeah,
Does
who
that.
doesn't really need jujitsu at all,
he doesn't realize how
Has no
dangerous
use for it at all.
can be. Like,
but still wants to learn it because he saw it on TV once. Yeah. See, for me, that's funny because I'm from the other camp where I'm I used to walk around at like a very not athletic 155. And like if I don't have some kind of a system, I would get murdered in a fight. I have no natural attributes. I have thin bones and
You got big bones.
I'm like Ichabod Crane or Jack Skellington or something. I'm all long and rangy and skinny and shit.
I always think of you as like John Danaher, but with hair. I feel like if you were to work
Don Janaher?
Yeah, Don Janaher.
I don't know. I definitely feel like their sense of humor is a little different.
If I ever did
yeah.
a technique video, I'd probably intro it as Don Janaher or something like that.
I feel like John Donaher's sense of humor has more layers.
I
In a way that.
I think I might be offended.
But listen, in a way that your sense of humor, when you portray it, people can get it quicker. Versus his, I feel like.
Apparently
you have
that's
to
not
do
true.
more. Really?
Yeah. My understanding is that people don't realize when I'm kidding a large percentage of the time.
Sarcasm's a weird game, though. So
it's not even so much sarcasm as I just like the patently absurd. So I'll say some really like ridiculous left field shit, like when I would tell a white belt, like, hey, no, you're a white belt. You have to fucking wait outside until this class is over and watch through the window. And it's like, it's such a ridiculous pretense to me that I assume that they would understand that that's a joke, but they don't. And that like gets into their soul, and I have this reputation of being like an asshole.
I'm not gonna lie, the first class I did come to tears, you had said something along those lines. I don't remember exactly what it was.
Get the fuck off my mat, new fish!
Well, yeah. I think it was like, you just asked me, like,
Hey, white bread, get on the side!
Like, what did I want?
You don't belong in
I was
here.
like, oh, I'm just here to... I was trying to say, like, I'm here to learn.
Are you delivering a pizza?
But I got nervous, and I was like, I'm just... Gary said I could watch.
Get the fuck
and
out.
we were like, okay, well...
Yeah, because then I was checkmated because Gary gave you permission. Otherwise, I would have thrown your ass out.
Yeah.
Buggy chokes. It's if you're going to that spot for the sake of attacking a buggy choke. I took extreme exception to it.
Right.
Because you're any of that kind of stuff. Leg lockers that just fall to the bottom to take leg locks. Out of like a guard passing scenario. I hate that shit too. And that's the basis for a lot of Sambo entries. But it's I have a love-hate relationship with points jiu-jitsu, but I think if you get back to the core of jiu-jitsu and like what it was about, it's about fighting. And the points are based on the positions where you can put damage on somebody. So like you get points for passing guard, you get points for knee belly, you get points for mount, you get points for back mount, you get points for a takedown. Those are all instances where you could put fire on somebody if you were in a combat scenario.
But there are instances where, like, in some organizations, there'll be like you'll pull guard or something.
Oh, you can exploit any set of rules, right?
And somebody touches the inside of your leg and boom.
Oh yeah.
Like that's a point.
Yeah.
Some stupid shit.
I meant to ask, do you want that open or not?
I was just gonna leave it open, but now
I can hear you echoing. Yeah. Okay.
Any rule set can be exploited. You won't ever find a perfect one. You go to EBI, people write out regulation to get to overtime.
Yep.
Yeah.
All that kind of shit.
What about no time limit sub only?
No.
As far as being exploited.
Yeah, that can be exploited too.
Well, you just sit there.
Because then I don't have to engage. I can wait for you to come into my game, and I wish I were better at takedowns. It's something that I want to work on.
I feel like you're really good at takedowns, and you're just lying.
Not against
like a wrestler, probably not.
Not against a trained person who has enough sense to deny you an over/under and keep their hips away from you, because my base is judo.
That's what I'm saying. Right?
And so if I can't get my hips next to yours, I can't throw you. And also, anybody who's willing to pull guard, that short circuits judo real hard.
Judo and wrestling, I would just say.
Wrestling still plays well against somebody who's set guard. Judo, not so much, in my opinion.
Is there a guard in judo?
Yes. Yeah, judo ground fighting is a little bit weird. You have almost all the same moves and stuff. Yeah. But it's based on like pure aggression. It's got much less of that chess player mentality. I've had people, and this is when I started cross training a little bit, who froze me out. And this was a lady brown belt, and I don't remember what I was at the time, but I was doing a little bit of both. But she was just so aggressively trying to collar choke me, and I think it was off of the bottom, that I couldn't do anything else but address her fucking trying to strangle me every 5 seconds, even though she should have been dead. she just kept fucking sticking grips in there, and I was like, knock it off. So judo is very aggressive. You only move forward. There's no guile to it. Nobody's slippery or setting traps or any of that kind of shit. It's a very straight and deliberate march, either to an arm bar or to some kind of collar choke. They pretty much don't do shoulder locks. I think they might be illegal at this point. They keep making the rules shittier. Unless, what the fuck were we talking about?
It was buggy chokes.
It was buggy chokes. Hey, you mentioned sambo a few times.
Yes.
Oh yeah, there's a huge argument.
Is there really actually an argument?
Yeah, there's.
I know you wanted to ask about it.
But
No.
I believe that.
I don't know how there could be an argument, but
well,
Rick will have a really good thing for
but
this because it's an argument between like pretty much Russian people.
we need the rule set first because you can't really pose that question.
there's
without the
a
rule
bunch
set.
of different ones. But I'm not very up on.
Well, I mean, the agreed upon
combat
rule set
sambo is
between-
definitely something different than sambo.
Is it?
Yes. There are strikes in combat
Yes.
sambo.
Oh, okay. That's like
Sambo,
it's like combat
striking.
jiu-jitsu.
It's effectively, yes. There's nothing new under the sun. It's been done a long time ago. So is pancrase.
Oh, I forgot that
Yeah,
exists.
pancreas is fucking cool.
Yeah.
Combat sambo allows striking both standing and on the ground, and the scoring is very similar to sport sambo.
Oh, they got
Striking
striking
is not
standing.
awarded any points, but a knockdown.
No,
two
you
strikes is
knock
counted as
somebody the fuck out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you can do it while standing.
And then I can score all the points I want on your lifeless body.
But the question was sambo versus jiu-jitsu, art for art, who's gonna win? But again, rule set is super important.
It depends. The rule set matters, but it depends on the people. I would generally go jiu-jitsu because it has a larger base. More people are doing jiu-jitsu. There's within 10th Planet, there's 200 something black belts,
Oh wow.
right? Something like
Yeah,
that.
I don't know.
Yeah, I think jiu-jitsu,
Should I know?
I think sport jiu-jitsu wins because it says right here that in sport
Depends on the rules.
Right. It depends on the rule set, obviously.
Which
but in
rule
sport
sets?
sambo, they only allow arm locks and straight leg locks. There's no chokes.
there's
or
no chokes?
twisting leg locks.
Okay.
Oh, that's maybe
I don't know.
that's
We'd have to go from
I don't know how-
rule set.
surprising to me.
That also comes from bloody elbow.
Yeah, well, I'll maybe take that for what it's
What's
worth.
bloody elbows?
The bloody elbow's like a MMA.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I wouldn't trust an MMA website.
Go through the sambo.
Yeah, again, I'm gonna say it's gonna depend on your rule set. It'll depend on a bunch of stuff.
I think
If it's no gi, the sambo person is gonna be at an immediate disadvantage.
Oh yeah, because they wear the.
They wear a
straight-
kurtka. And so that's effectively, it's just like, you might as well be like, so against a judo guy versus a jiu-jitsu guy, who's going to win? And I'm going to be like, well, are they wearing gis? And then what do the rules look like? And then if we can't define any of that, I'm going to, again, defer to jiu-jitsu, because jiu-jitsu has a larger base.
Probably the easiest thing to do is treat like old UFC. They wear whatever they normally train in.
See, that was a dumb fucking system.
Yeah, that was crazy, right?
Yeah.
Like Hoist Gracie going out there in the gi.
Well, and he
That
would
was-
do
that was so
Ezekiel
weird.
chokes and lapel
'cause he'd
chokes with
use
his
his
own
collar.
lapel and shit.
Yeah.
So, it was borderline cheating, but...
But then
Yeah,
back
that
then,
Could you imagine if he would have went out there and tried to do no-gi with some of them fucking monsters?
Oh, man.
It'd been different.
Do you know what would have happened? So, we were talking about judo and how judo is kind of crooked because it was was originally a jiu-jitsu guy, and then he developed judo, and I think he developed it to be like watered down jiu-jitsu that was more accessible or safer to practice or something like that. I don't remember what the rationale was. But then he bribed somebody or did something else to get a competition for the national martial art of Japan between a handful of jiu-jitsu masters and then some of his judo guys. And then they made it be effectively a wrestling match where the only thing that scored was takedowns, I believe. And then that was how judo came to prominence. So he got all these ground fighting jiu-jitsu guys who do all locks and awaza and shit. And then he got them in a stand-up takedown only.
So Maeda was.
I never have understood what Ken Shamrock's deal is, because supposedly he's got like a catch background or something, but he doesn't ever look like it.
Yeah, I think he was one of the first guys.
I know he did
heel hooks at people.
pancration. Yeah, this heel hooks were ugly as shit too. Well, he did. I take that back. That's not fair. But he did like a catch wrestling heel hook.
It was all from the elbow, right?
Usually, so they'll heel hook from I'm kind of speaking out of term because I'm not a catch wrestling expert or anything like that. But if you look at them when they do heel hooks and like CSW and stuff, it's usually from like a Saturday Night Ride position, which is top guard, and they'll get a leg up, and so then your leg will be bent at a 90 over their hip or their thigh, and they'll heel hook you from that spot.
Gotcha.
And then they call that, I think it's Saturday Night Ride.
He was choking him with his...
Yeah.
Didn't he tap?
He sure did, aggressively.
Yeah, twice. Or, 16
He's
times.
like, all right, now you know the rule is you only get 6 taps.
Yeah, you only get 6 taps, even though the Brazilian tap is a thing. But that was clear.
Well, Brazilian tap's usually like 1, right?
1 or 2, like
I'm trying to grab on something.
Yeah.
That was 3, 4, 5. Oh, he might have used his whole 6. Oh no, he still got one.
Yeah, he still got one. What was he? I think he was using his sleeve, like pull up and choke him with it.
Yeah, and
that's a good angle. There we go. No, just.
That's another thing. So again, this is all hearsay, but supposedly the first UFC was really put on by Rorion Gracie. And
are we getting into combat sport? What you call it?
I don't think this is really a conspiracy theory. I think this is kind of accepted. But the opponents were cherry picked. They put all strikers and shit in there, and they made the rules to where he could wear the gi.
Because the point was to...
Because if they would have put a D1 wrestler in there, Hoist would have got fucked up.
Yeah.
Gi or no gi.
Yeah.
He would have got fucking double-legged into oblivion and just beat to shit. So...
I think that was a ridiculous rule that they took away.
And so that kind of launched jiu-jitsu into prominence. And so that was a little bit crooked too. So it's hard to...
That whole... I don't know.
I remember what my point I was trying to make forever ago when I got derailed.
How's your apple juice, man?
Oh, it's I'm a sipper, so we're good. I'm really savoring that dole.
Good.
Who make Mott's? Who the fuck makes apple juice?
Bunch of people.
This is Tennessee apple juice here. Part of the backbone of jiu-jitsu, we were talking about shitty heel hooks or like neck breakers and stuff. One of the prime arguments for the efficacy of jiu-jitsu as an art is that you're able to train it at 90 or 100% and nobody gets hurt. You can do the moves that you're going to do for real.
Right.
And they have the capacity to maim somebody. We know that, intuitively. But you're able to almost like separate the hit from the punch. You know what I mean? If I could throw a really hard overhand right and then stop it a millimeter from your face and have you say, oh yeah, no, that would have fucked me up.
Mm-hmm.
And not have any argument about that. It's like that.
Okay.
That's kind of the backbone for the argument of the efficacy. Oh, this is fun.
So we were talking about heel hooks since the...
I watched a debate recently where somebody was talking about whether or not what he does is worse than somebody who just fucking rips it and runs.
Mm.
He also does not great heel hooks.
Nope.
But fighting somebody who has no idea...
Well, it doesn't matter. Shitty heel hooks work too.
Right. They still have the same explosive, like, destruction.
Well, I mean, look at him, man.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah,
you'll get a similar result just with way more effort. Yeah, your rate of exchange gets way worse.
What?
So if you watch him do any heel hook, you can see the amount of force he's putting on it.
Yeah.
That if you did that on like a good heel hook, that dude's the inside of his leg would just shoot across the arena, and somebody in the back would catch it.
Oh,
Sweet, I got a UFC fighter.
That's like Mortal Kombat.
And I mean, he's not. I don't even know if it's fair to say that they're bad heel hooks, but they're not technical heel hooks.
Mm.
Oh, okay, that's a better. Yeah, that's way like
Technical
heel hooks and then heel hooks are completely two different things.
He's still getting a block in place so that your knee can't follow the rotation, but he's applying the grand majority of the force with his arms.
Right.
So you're still going to run into a little bit of a potential for the shared spiral problem. And that kind of stuff, especially against the savvier guy. Generally, I prefer the opposite, where I get a hold of your heel, and then I produce the force with my legs and hips.
Right.
Which this could be a long conversation that we should probably better not start in on, especially if we're not going to show any technique, because people get fucking pissed.
Oh, we'll do an on the mats with you before.
Well, that's why I was talking to you before I changed out, where I was like, "You want to get any tech? Because if we're going to shoot that, let's shoot that now."
Yeah, we'll do that.
Before I switch out of my gear.
The next one we do, we can do on heel hooks or something like that.
Cool.
But he does more of a, let's call it an old school heel hook, where the force is generated with the arms and the torso.
So it's just like pulling across the belt line?
Yeah, you kind of, your order of operations with a heel hook, and this is one of the harder things to get people to understand, is negotiable. I have a list of tasks that I have to accomplish, but the order that I accomplish them in is kind of up to me. And then once I get everything set, I can add force to it, and it still produces the same result. Whether I put 3 first and then grab 1 and then 2 versus going 1, 2, 3, it doesn't necessarily matter. You can force their knee, assuming that we're doing an outside heel hook, we can force their knee to the outside, which is the position that you want for breaking, if you're doing an outside heel hook. And then I can go get his heel after the fact, which is kind of the old school version. So I'm pushing your knee this way, and then now I have to come get your heel and your toes. So usually that's going to take some digging, right? I'm going to have to go in after that. It's going to be a little bit of a job. I'm going to have to grab it and pull it out. So the dig on that heel hook is going to be really difficult and then painful. You're going to start getting heel hooked on the dig. But the dig's going to be hard, especially if the person defending is competent. Whereas you can, on kind of the opposition side of that, you can put the knee into internal rotation, still an outside heel hook. So now you have heel exposure that they can't do shit about. You just can't, if your knee's pointed this way, I don't care who you are, you can't hide your heel. And then I can catch the heel. So I'm catching the heel first, and then now while I've had the heel, I can get that set, and then I can use my hips or my leg to force this into external rotation while I keep the foot fixed. So we can flip-flop the sequence of what we're doing. Where I was getting sleepy, I can see it in his eyes. He's like, this motherfucker talks forever.
Yeah, wake up, dude.
It's all good.
We can switch if you want.
So the order of operations is negotiable on a heel hook, and generally if somebody's defending it the appropriate way for whatever one you're doing, you can switch to the other one and punish them for the defense that they're doing. And I've taught that to you guys a little bit with the whole switching between a heel hook and a straight ankle lock thing that
Yes.
we've kind of been popularizing in here lately.
The switch is very...
Well, first the defense that I was doing it for it, where I just change. If you're trying to straight me, I'll show you the heel hook angle for the outside heel hook. And then when you go for that, we'll go back to straight or internal rotation of the heel, external rotation of the knee, and you'll go back and forth. And then a little while ago, I taught Mario about, when they do that, you can freeze the knee in the spot that they put their knee to do that, and then you can just fucking blow their knee up.
And that's what I'm working on.
He's really good at straights, and so he'll do this. And so you'll do that defense where you'll rotate your heel out, and therefore your knee in, which is, we talked about that second heel hook example, where you do exposure first. And so you can change your ashi in such a way that he can't turn his knee back. He gets trapped on this ledge that he put himself on, trying to run from the straight. And then behind that, there's a sambo straight ankle lock that you can do that punishes this, or you can switch this to a topside heel hook. And then this could be a long talk, but you're probably going to get a single roll out of this, and then you can switch to double outside and break their leg.
Yeah, this is definitely going to be a session for on the mat.
When you come through the other side of it.
Yeah, this sounds...
I'm not teaching any leg locks, though.
Damn it, fuck, shit.
So, yeah, but you still
You
have-
missed the bus, bitch. I talked to you earlier.
Yeah, now you get it all watered down secondhand from me. So...
I don't want that bullshit, alright? I want that real shit, Rick. What the fuck?
I got like a dead bug or something in my
Drink
apple
it,
juice.
Do you need a new cup?
Yeah, it'd be, if we happen to have one, I'll just take yours that you're probably not touching.
I mean, it's got more stuff in it.
That's
I know
fine.
that.
Wait.
I'm not sure about... actually, Rick, you are,
What
you
kind
are
of
pretty good.
When you say more stuff,
You're pretty big, like MMA. Like, you watch fighting.
I used to be. I liked it a lot back when it was Randy Couture and Chuck Liddell
Right.
and Tito Ortiz and that kind of stuff, where somebody would be like champion for a minute.
Yeah.
Now I can't.
Well, I mean, we've got guys.
I can't keep up with it, and it used to be. There was a point when you would still get like stylistic battles that were really interesting, and it's arriving at a point where everybody's so complete that it's kind of boring to me.
Yeah.
If you're a fighter yourself, which I wish I was, but I'm kind of a pussy.
I wouldn't say that.
Well, yeah, like there's degrees to everything.
Right.
I don't dig getting punched in the face. Some people do.
I don't.
Right? So once I figured out that you could grapple and fuck somebody up and not get hit, I was in. I was like, sign me up. I'll take 5.
Hey, can you do me a favor? Can you open that fridge?
Yeah.
There's a little
Maybe
can in there. There should only be one thing in there.
Yeah, it's like 216.
Talking about me falling asleep.
Is this news?
Oh God.
What's this? What this?
Craig Jones, he isn't doing the, what was it, 88 kg or whatever he was doing in ADCC, and he stepped up into the 99 kg.
Why?
No idea.
I mean, he's a giant human being. He
But
can.
it's fair to say that so is Tim. I think Tim Spriggs is going to be in there as well.
Did you read his
Yeah,
caption?
he's like, consider that silver medal gone, boys.
Yeah, no, Craig is super funny.
Oh yeah, he's a
I watched him argue with Tim Spriggs.
No, that's hilarious.
I watched it for a little while, and then I got tired of listening to it.
So
But
he heel hooks Tim Spriggs back in the day, and then Tim always talks about how like he's better than Craig, and that he's got like the who's #1 championship belt and shit like that. And Craig was like, "Well, fucking fight me." And I guess there's this rumor that Tim won't sign a contract against Craig Jones or some shit like that. He's ducking him.
I have never heard of Tim Spriggs.
Me neither.
I did not know
Before
who Tim
that.
Spriggs
Apparently,
was
I mean, he
until-
dresses really nice. I can tell you that.
Yeah, I didn't know who he was until until I saw my first who's #1.
Heard of Craig Jones though.
But I think Tim Spriggs is going to be in the 99 kg at ADCC as well.
Well, let's hope they fight each other.
I hope that happens.
Or maybe Craig will get blown out by his first opponent. And he's been on a weird cold streak.
Dude, all of the comments in this are except the match, Timothy, because Craig Jones wore a T-shirt.
Oh yeah, nice stuff. Yeah.
Yeah. I thought that was pretty funny of Craig. But yeah, see, this is what they're talking about. That's one way to get Tim Spriggs to take the match.
Didn't work.
And this cool rack, the fucking
Oh yeah,
the
that guy.
camel hump guy.
Camel crusher dude.
Yeah. He was like, you barely weigh 70 kgs. You know, things like that. I think it's I don't know. I think it's a cool move because Gordon's fighting in the regular and the super fight, right?
Correct.
So he's fighting 99 kg.
Yeah, he asked. I don't know what his weight is, but I know he's doing his division.
If it's 99, that would be cool to see that run back. Because Craig's probably, arguably, because you guys.
Oh yeah, no, Gordon will rape Craig.
Right. Well, back at the EBI, Craig was the closest person to ever sub him. Like.
Think about the verbiage you just used when you said that.
Back in EBI.
Well, the closest,
closest
person.
Yeah.
With a pack of people, where Gordon is fucking 20 miles this way in first place, and then 20 miles back this way, there's the rest of the pack, and then there's Craig at the head of the pack.
What does, in your opinion, dude? What is that like? Yours too. Shit. What is that like? How the fuck do you get there?
I mean, you're at a
Systematic training.
Yeah.
Having somebody that actually takes the time to examine. So this is, I don't mean in any way to compare myself to John Danaher or Gordon Ryan, but I like to focus in on the little exchanges that people have, like very small, like micro positions. Like when you're set to do a knee slice, I'll do a whole fucking class on being in the set to do a knee slice spot and never do a knee slice.
What do you mean by this? Oh no, that's up on the mat thing. But still.
Yeah, well, if you don't know what set to do a knee slice is, you might be in need of more help than what I can give.
Well, I mean, for like
inside knee slice, I should say.
Like before you start cutting.
Yeah.
So top side Z-gar with a knee through.
Okay. I just know like.
Would you call that an inside staple?
No.
Cool. Good to know.
Super would not. I'm gonna need some context.
Yeah, it always falls back on context. What's up? You're not trying to
Rick,
talk about...
What?
Yeah, you're going to. Okay.
Yeah, I was gonna ask Rick. You're not like a conspiracy guy, are you?
No.
Yeah.
No, that shit drives me up a fucking tree.
Fucking figure so.
I mean, if you can come up with a good one that's got like a degree of plausibility to it.
What about like 9/11?
But if you're gonna give me...
Serious?
Most of the time...
Go on.
Like 9/11, dude. Like that was the most. Some people think that.
You know, there's a famous comedian whose father died.
Oh yeah, dude.
Oh, wasn't his father like a firefighter?
Pete Davidson's dad was a fireman, and he died in the World Trade Center
He
on
made so many jokes.
9/11.
Well, he does that really good bit where.
Oh, he has to. But if you needed proof that it happened, or are you talking that inside job shit? Are you on that fucking dumbass jet fuel won't melt steel beams stuff?
No, I'm on that like stuff where it's like, I mean.
Because Eddie does it to be funny, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure Eddie does most of it, but some of his conspiracy stuff I think is real. I think some of it is real. But the flat Earth shit
you
is
mean
for sure.
he means it?
I think the flat Earth shit is fake.
It's really square, and we're on top of a giant turtle.
That makes sense, dude.
So the thing
I've seen pictures.
Yeah.
The thing about conspiracy theories is that it's just like a rabbit hole of you don't know anything.
So
Like we don't know it.
it's very much. This is gonna get spicy. I don't know if I want to get this spicy.
What flavor of spice?
With not the kind you want attached to your product, probably.
I can cut shit out.
That would be funny to watch it. Fucking, you got to put in like one of the like the old 9 Inch Nails closer. The fucking scene missing.
No, all we'll do
Old timey movie reel.
all we'll do is this. Hang on.
Frame missing.
1, 2, 3, and we're back. Now you can talk about it as much as you want.
So the just like if you, I don't know where you guys are at on the whole religion thing. I weighed in as an agnostic for a while, and I've just been like, that's just lazy. I'm gonna be an atheist. That's just for me sitting down and thinking about it and being like, yeah, no, this math doesn't check out. Either that or God super likes giving bone cancer to babies. I don't know which one it is.
All the morality sections of it.
There's a lot of stuff, but it doesn't matter really what angle you take it from. And this kind of, you'll end up in this same vein if you go into, you talk to people who are conspiracy theorists and they're really holding on to whatever it is they're into. You'll eventually hit that point where it just does, or it's fucking, he's mysterious. You can, it just does. You just have to believe, and it's like, it sounds to me like you're fucking smooth out of, logic or proof or evidence or whatever.
It's not that spicy. So
well, but it's just that it's this impenetrable brick wall.
Yeah.
That you will eventually always run into, and it's fucking infuriating if you ever try to talk to one of these people about something.
So I heard a really cool quote, and I think it holds true for the most part, and it's that I added the quote already.
Another cool quote.
But it's one of the strongest or most powerful things or powerful drivers in the human psyche is the
stupidity.
need to be the need to be consistent with your identity, how to identify yourself.
Yes, and
so
if you attack that, people will dig in real hard.
The conspiracy theory becomes a part of their identity or their religion, for
and
example.
If you begin to attack their
even
theology that they hold on to, that's
even not attacking, just giving them a reason to critically think about it.
Undermine.
Yeah.
I ran into this recently with some of the hot button stuff that's going on recently, and I had a person that I used to work with weigh in on a public venue. Well, public is a little bit generous, but on social media, where he basically like poked at liberals, and he's like, "Hey, we won."
Okay.
If you, maybe you never thought about this, but if your mother would have had an abortion, you wouldn't be here. Some wild, fucking conservative, just the stupidest shit that I've ever heard. But a colleague of mine he's from the other side of the aisle, and I'm gonna stay the fuck out of it because I have a dick. So I realize I don't have any business in this particular conversation. No matter what happens, I'm not stuck gestating that baby or, zygote or embryo or whatever you want to call it for 9 months and then theoretically having to take care of it after it, hopefully goes full term and is born. I don't have that burden on me. I don't even have to think about that burden. Not even the potential of that burden. So that's one of those things where you can't ever appreciate what that other person is going through because you lack that context. You can't have it. It's not available to you. you don't have anything that parallels it. And I'm sure there's other examples of that out there. I can't think of any right this second, but because I realize that I'm so far removed from that, I've got no business weighing in on that one way or the other, or for making policy regarding it.
Yeah.
That shit's crazy to me.
I mean, there's value in being okay with not knowing something, or not knowing that you won't have that experience.
I think that's more valuable than knowing most things.
Mm.
It's been the benefit of my experience that knowing what you don't know is fucking huge.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's the people that, if you find somebody who is claiming to look for the truth, follow them anywhere. But as soon as you find somebody that claims to know the truth, get the fuck away from them.
Yeah. Trying to know the truth is just like a never-ending process. So,
should be.
Right.
If done correctly.
Especially since everything continues
Unless
to
it's
change.
something that's a slam dunk like the earth being flat. In which case, I mean, you can just put that in the bank and walk away.
That's a weird analogy to use, considering you have a ball that goes into a basket.
Considering that whenever there's an eclipse, it's a spherical shape, and a lunar eclipse, I should say.
They're discs.
Not only that, but like the most ridiculous thing I ever watched, and
the Coriolis Effect exists when you fire a bullet.
I will admit that I watched the entire thing the entire way through on Netflix. There was that Flat Earth movie.
Oh yeah.
Whatever. And then literally at the end of it, he's just like,
psych.
Well, it didn't work.
But at the end of the day, what are they doing? They're like, it didn't work. Well, you know what? We just have to find another way to make it work.
All right, end of the movie.
We have to find another metric to measure by that will prove our hypothesis correct.
I don't think their experiment was very well put together. I mean, if there's just a hill, it's going to be different. They didn't think that through very well.
I don't know what their experiment was. The fact that you have a horizon.
Their experiment was that they stood at a certain point and they said, if the Earth is indeed round, then at this point we should not be able to see Chicago.
So when we're talking flat Earth, are we talking like a disc, like a coin? Or are we talking cube?
Like that.
Oh, that's a whole new thought.
A cube?
Mm-hmm. Imagine if we lived on a cube.
Yeah.
Oh, that'd be fucking cool.
There's
because then the honeycomb theory would be real.
I don't remember what culture comes out of, but there's images of a cube Earth on a turtle's back.
That's where the turtle back.
Well, no, I mean that comes from a lot of places.
Yeah.
What a weird,
including a Stephen King book.
What a weird thing.
That was I've never read the book, but if you read the book It versus watching the movie, there's an antagonist to Pennywise, which is this all-knowing turtle that holds up the Earth or something like that.
There's multiple things. Onondaga, the Earth on turtle's back, and the world on the turtle's back, the Iroquois tale. Pretty much, yeah. Before the Earth existed, there was only water.
What is that? Like someone was tripping looking at this turtle with like all this moss on its back, or what?
Well, I mean, even if you look at it like in like other, so Avatar.
Okay.
You remember towards the end of the Avatar?
You're talking about like The Last Airbender?
Yes.
Okay.
The Avatar: The Last Airbender.
See, that's good.
You remember in Avatar: The Last Airbender towards the end before he fought Iroh?
Oh yeah. The turtle gave him that power.
And because the turtle is all knowing, and the turtle says, "I've been here longer than anything."
Mm-hmm.
Turtles also live a long time.
Very fucking long time.
Oh, we're deciphering, figuring out where it all came from.
This is how conspiracy theories happen.
This is how
draw all these conclusions from things.
To answer your question real quick, though, the honeycomb theory is that there's like inside the Earth, there's like honeycombs, and like in each honeycomb there's like different things.
So it's like Hollow Earth,
worlds.
but with a honeycomb.
Like Hollow Earth, but with honeycomb.
Basically like an ant colony.
It's getting warm in here. Oh, you good? We'll finish what we're doing.
It's all the spiciness.
What's up with people holding on to buggy chokes? It's because they're trying to finish the choke. They think they can choke you out before you will slam them through the ground.
It's fair.
Oh, you didn't see the
hey, we never talked about that.
Like I said, man, these are just,
Read the one under that.
If you were a serial killer, how would you do it? I would pay O.J. Simpson to do it. I'd be like, you probably need some money right about now, O.J.
You think O.J. did it?
I can't Can't get involved in that one.
It turned into a conspiracy theory.
He wrote a fucking book entitled "If I Did It" and fucking.
Did you read it?
Yeah.
All kinds of other stuff. I am not a serial killer. Nor would I become one.
Okay.
Strictly by virtue of the fact that you have to do a series of murders and they have to have a criteria that ties them all together.
Earlier
Do
you
they
said that
do you
you
have
had
to,
to
though?
have a certain path whenever it came to being able to fight people. Like you
So,
needed
well-
what was the word that you used? It sounds like the same thing you were just now talking about.
Go on, no, go ahead and tell me more about what I said.
If you were,
You have to select victims that have a certain criteria in common, like women of a certain age or something like that.
yeah.
And then I think you have to do 3. I don't
It
know
has to
the
be more. I think it has to be more than 4.
3 or 4 or something like that.
To be considered.
Yeah.
And then I think most of those. So let me walk this back so that people don't get the wrong idea about me.
I'm just gonna cut it to where it looks like.
Well, I've heard that out of enough people that I look like a serial killer, which I don't understand. But
look like.
yeah,
What does a serial killer look like?
Yeah.
that's a great question.
They look like anybody,
Oh, except for Bundy, he was handsome.
Yeah, he was handsome,
but that's
dude.
my point. Like anybody.
Okay. I mean, he was handsome to some women. Like.
It's always the quiet. Well, I mean, you like teddy bears though. I think for them, a lot of times it's from like a very deep-seated mental illness where it's part of their what it takes for them to get off or something along those lines. The reason that I know the amount of stuff that I know about this is because my grandfather was a St. Louis city detective,
Oh,
and
that's really
he
cool.
had a library of books on serial killers and things of that.
I thought Rick was gonna say because my grandfather
Was a serial killer? I thought that too for a
I was
second.
like, there was a. St.
Did you ever hear about the
Louis
Glasgow Strangler? That was my grandpa. They never did catch him.
That's insane. I didn't know that.
We talk about it at Christmas.
No, like that's cool that
He was like, yeah.
That's what I wanted to do that when I was younger.
Be a detective?
To serial kill people? No, I
He's
want
just
a
gonna grab that.
glass that doesn't have a fucking ant or something in there. I'm getting to the point where it's kampai.
Oh, okay. I was gonna say you had one.
Oh, why would I want yours?
Oh, right. So
What's wrong with this one?
if you were a serial killer, just in a pretend world.
Yeah. So
what would your
so
what would your mark
the
be?
my hang up with the
Signature.
question. Well, it's gonna be piano wire.
Piano wire?
Yeah, a garrote.
Yeah.
Sick.
No, if I the whole serial thing is kind of my hang up. If I were going to kill somebody, which I would never do,
You're not telling me. I know you wouldn't.
theoretically, Steven. I'm gonna fucking look into the camera real hard. I always, I think it's based off of a famous book or movie or something like that, but have you ever seen Throw Mama from the Train?
No.
So it's an old comedy movie. It's got Danny DeVito and Billy Crystal in it. And again, I think it's based off of something else, like a Hitchcock movie or something like that. But the premise is that if you want to kill somebody, you have a complete stranger do it.
Oh.
Dude, I have seen
And so the idea is that, yeah, he meets a student that I think is in his literary class, and then they basically agree to swap murders.
Yeah. Yeah, I have seen
Because the first people they look at,
And there's no motive.
anytime there's a crime, is going to be the people most immediately connected to them, which again, I would never hurt anybody in any way, shape, or form
So,
off of a mat when they
Who's the
hadn't
guy?
signed a waiver.
Charles Manson? No. Who's
Yeah.
the guy who like manipulated people and murdered them or whatever? Is that Manson?
I'm going to need way more.
Marilyn Manson did.
Marilyn
No,
Manson?
No.
Not Marilyn Manson.
Charles Manson?
Charles Manson
He did
killed
manipulate people, but
killed some people, or
he used a lot of LSD to manipulate
got
people.
some, yeah.
But my point is did he have them kill people or did he kill people?
I think he had them kill people.
Yeah, so he used LSD that, and this is apparently facts, but you can't quote me because I have no idea what I'm talking about because I'm an idiot, but
Well, those are two conflicting ideas you just laid down on the
listen,
table.
Yeah.
I'm just saying, you can't listen to me about it. Other people have
And yet here you are
much,
talking.
other people have much bigger like bigger thoughts on this, but like Joe Rogan and a couple of those guys, they
Yeah,
have,
there's
Rick's
a
like,
so
no.
as a quick what you're saying, there's a book from a guy who decided to look more into it for the anniversary of all that stuff.
Yeah.
And he started finding out there was a lot more going on than what most people realized.
Yes.
That's what you're trying to say.
Yes.
No.
Yeah, that he pretty much like the whole MK Ultra thing and like the government like.
Charlie's making
was
hair
just
spiders in prison.
Charlie was getting out of prison, like way earlier than he should have, and then the government was like taking him and giving him LSD, doing experiments on him, as well as teaching him how to manipulate people while on LSD. So he would give a bunch of fucking hippies LSD and then tell these hippies like, "No, dude, it's cool. You can go kill all these people."
Who was the target?
No idea.
Public service
Hippies.
moment.
Hippies was the target.
If you're going to experiment with things like LSD and other things that put you in suggestible states,
Yeah, I would just not.
yeah, but people are still going to. So if you're going to, safe environment,
Safe environment.
and that includes people
I just
and your physical environment.
watched a little bit about Ron White going on a ayahuasca
Oh,
trip.
I heard that that's a really good like opener. Though. You ever done anything?
It's
you
what
ever
they
done LSD?
say. No, nope. Just pot when I was much younger, and that was more of a medicinal thing for me. I have headaches all the time, and I have
Oh,
trouble
yeah.
sleeping, and that helped me with both of those.
Oh yeah, dude. For sure.
And then I got a little bit older, and I just realized the juice wasn't worth the squeeze, so I just knocked it the fuck off, and then I haven't
Yep.
gotten back into it, and I couldn't because of what I do for a living.
Right.
Even though it's legal,
Oh, it is legal in the state.
you
isn't it?
you can't.
yeah.
Yeah, but still, yeah, like with government jobs and things like that. Because I mean, it doesn't matter because if it's legal in any state. Why you
Well,
Don't say the G word. I don't. It hasn't
You know what else
gotten.
you should cut is this question: would you rather? I mean, just because it's a gimmick, it's from an old YouTube video.
You don't need gimmicks. You have actual charisma.
What's that? What's that? Oh, thanks. I don't know if
Oh, I know.
I have it in pieces. But anyways,
Keeps pulling these attractive women and having babies with them though.
I'll cut that for sure.
I wanted to
When he
ask
puts
this.
on the vibe, he really fucking
Right.
puts it on.
When it comes to like sarcasm, I kind of look at it in two ways. One, either you make sure it's understood as sarcasm, you do some kind of gesture or something.
Yeah,
or
I
two,
try not to ever spoon feed anybody fucking wild winks and gestures
yeah,
and shit.
or two, which way is the high level of sarcasm?
Because that's insulting to everybody's intellect who's involved.
I believe, yeah.
Okay, so you're on that side. Because the other option is, you're so good at it,
Mhm.
it's hard to detect.
I don't know that it's a measure of being good at sarcasm, that it's difficult to detect.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's just a byproduct of your delivery. I have kind of a monotone voice. I don't know what the fuck to do about that.
It is very monotone.
It's just where I live at. It's real nice to fall asleep to. Mario's fucking
I can't fall asleep to your voice.
over here. Oh, she did last night.
See, that's the thing. I don't want to cut that. But like anything.
So my cadence
sarcasm
and
forward.
stuff is generally stays very level, and I'm all bass. I don't have a whole lot of treble in my voice and that kind of stuff. And so everything that I say, whether I'm dead fucking serious or I'm wildly kidding, comes out about the same. And I'm not a cartoon character, so I'm not generally wildly expressive with my face. Because that just drives me up a tree, too. You'll have people that just be fucking smiling and shit all the time, like Jason. Or Mario. Mario's actually kind of more in my vein, I'll be
It's
honest.
just his laugh.
Mario does cartoonish shit sometimes, but whenever he's... I feel like you know that about yourself.
Yeah, I do.
If you don't, I'm sorry you had to find out this way.
I don't know anything about me.
You'll hop up on the mat and fucking high step like you just rode a
Yeah.
bull and fucking waggle your arms, and it'll be for nobody particular.
Or
Just
burst
just
out
for me.
dancing.
Yeah, which I mean,
I just like certain ways of moving.
everybody's weirdness comes out a little bit different, and so long as he's doing that and not serial killing babies, that seems fine.
Not good.
If that's as wild as you get, that's perfect. But I don't have that. I'm not wildly animated or any of that kind of stuff, and so it makes when I'm kidding less apparent to people that don't take the time to consider the context of what I'm saying. and being like, does this make sense?
Would you say that people have to kind of know you more, like be around you more to start really recognizing it?
I'm told it helps.
Okay, that makes sense to me.
Well, there's that's kind of there's two sides to that. One is, if I've known you longer, I'm gonna joke with you more, and you're also going to gain just more value as a human being to me. I don't give a shit about people that I just met. You have to, I hate to say it, but you have to build up value for me.
That makes sense.
You have to put time in. You have to show me that you're going to do work or be reliable, Steven. Or, or you know what I mean? You have to, that's back to kind of that whole blood on the sand thing. Because I don't know what it is. Some people are just naturally magnanimous and outgoing and friendly, and they love everybody they meet. And I would just as soon light you on fire as look at you until we've got, some history under us. So, which is why I think I should have gone into the Marines.
Yeah?
But I'm a pussy.
I almost went in the Marines.
I had a buddy of mine that I used to box with, and he was very nice. He could have murdered me, and he didn't. He was a very large linebacker in high school, and we started riding to and from school together. And we hung out and shot pools and stuff on the weekend. But just a giant sweetheart of a man. Came from a very Christian, very Catholic family. But just the sweetest dude you'll ever meet. I, of course, was kind of a piece of shit back then. So we ended up kind of falling apart, but super cool dude. But he went in straight out of high school. And I don't know what he's doing now. Last I heard, he's got a baby that he had abroad, and he's trying to get him and the baby and the mother brought back over to the States, and
oh wow,
all that kind of stuff. But hopefully he's doing good wherever he is, because he was instrumental in definitely high school for me. I got bullied real hard in high school, man.
Is that?
That was when I started lifting weights and boxing. And then my boxing partner just happened to be my linebacker buddy, who was like 6'5" and
oh god,
250, 60 pounds, whatever. Big old German guy.
That was here?
And no, this is over in North County. Which again, he could have fucking murdered me, but then they understood that my right hand man was this fucking giant linebacker, and then B, that I allegedly boxed with him. So then I got more or less left alone, except for one or two people, but it's whatever. Boy, we're really just fucking trailing off. Oh my god.
What is this?
Jason just sent me this.
Well, yeah, you can see the string hanging out.
Yeah, what a weird thing.
Yeah, I was gonna cover that topic, but we don't have a female guest in here today, so honestly, we can't really talk about it at all.
Talking about the Roe versus Wade stuff, or IUDs.
Well,
I'll tell you whatever you want to know about IUDs.
Not to be confused with IEDs.
Yeah, no, those are bad things.
Those are crazy. Those are crazy.
Those,
IEDs?
I want to say, no, yes. Now you got my brain fucking shuffled around where I'm going to start trying to think about the other thing.
Have you...
Those sure, I suspect they're probably outlawed, and if they're not, they should be.
IEDs or IUDs?
IEDs.
Oh, yeah,
That's a good
are.
point.
Improvised explosive devices.
I've heard people missay that and tell me, like, yeah, I got an IED in me now. I'm like, excuse me?
Yeah, but you want
to get...
That's better than the opposite, where you're talking to a veteran in a bar, and he's like, I fucking stepped on an IUD back in Afghanistan.
No, I'm traumatized.
Fucked my leg up.
Yeah, no, my stepdad went on like fucking 4 or 5 different tours.
Yeah.
And on his second one, I think.
It's just shitty because they're designed to maim.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's what his platoon, they were driving through, and he told me the story 100 times, and not to go into too much detail, but basically their Humvee hit an IED, and it's funny. The funny part about this is that my stepdad is from Alabama.
Get the fuck out of town.
Love you, Eric. But he got a big ass piece of shrapnel in his ass.
He was lucky.
So they called him Forrest Gump.
Yeah.
he tells a story that, you know, whenever it happened or whatever, you know, he was still in full gun mode and he was just like, something jumped up and bit
Some
me.
bit me. You gotta suck out the poison.
I tell him all the time, I was like, you know, it's a good thing that you didn't, like, you know, get to meet the president at the time, which I think at the time was fucking Bush Jr. And I was like,
Bush Jr. was great.
If you got, dude, he was hysterical.
Didn't you watch Harold and Kumar, the second one?
If I could pick a favorite, like, U.S. president based on how funny they were, it would definitely be George Bush Jr. Because he was hysterical. Like,
I'm going Teddy Roosevelt the whole way down.
Yeah, he was cool.
Mm-hmm.
We talked about him.
No, I don't. You could ask me whatever you want. You could say you and the president with the biggest dick. I'm going Teddy Roosevelt. You're saying baddest, coolest president. I'm going Teddy.
Oh yeah, dude. I mean,
you're saying funniest president. You see that fucker with his fat cheeks and his little fucking octagonal glasses.
But
Teddy Roosevelt, fucking ride or die, son.
Teddy Roosevelt was like a legit grappler and boxer, and
he was a judo brown belt.
Yeah.
Also,
like he was legit.
That was something I had to know for my brown belt test.
You had to know that?
Mm-hmm.
That's cool as fuck.
We had to be able to name all of the members of the first U.S. Olympic judo team.
Wow.
We had to know that Teddy. No, but we had to know that he was a brown belt.
Yo, what's up with the 3 brown belts thing? Like, there's no purple.
Green is kind of the ranks are very different. White, yellow, orange, green, brown, black.
Since I've got both of you in here.
And then originally it just went white, black.
Oh yeah.
What takes in y'all's opinion?
What hurts the most?
Yeah. What does it take to get? Because we asked Gary this.
To black belt?
Yes.
Why don't you ask this guy?
Dude, I don't know yet.
Ask this cocksucker right here.
He's a brown belt.
Out there sucking all them cocks.
So that's what it takes to get your Gary meat.
I'll be a brown belt for life.
Doesn't tell you anything, but that's not what I heard.
I'll be a brown belt for never.
You should hope to be a brown belt.
Yeah. I hope I get my brown belt.
You got some time.
What do you guys constitute as a purple belt?
Black belt is an honorific rank. I think you fight about as good as you're going to fight by purple or brown. That's a toss-up depending on the school you're in and the person.
Okay.
And there, if you have a black belt, find a brown belt, fight a purple belt, that should be a coin flip, assuming that they're all of a similar degree of competency. So if you're talking competitive people, it has to be all competitive people.
Yeah.
That kind of stuff. Black belt, like I said, is honorific. You get that generally for time, and then theoretically having made contributions to either jiu-jitsu or the school.
Most people do that as what, 10 years? That's like the
10 to 15 is the average that a lot of people tout.
Average, even though
It's
the range.
different for everybody. You can do it on the fast end in 6, I think.
Who's the fastest?
I mean, it used to be the fast end was like 4, but I think there's a lot more you need to know nowadays.
Yeah, I don't know if it ever. I think a 6 is the fastest black belt you can do, but I think people have done it shorter.
Because I think Mike Fowler was 4 or 5, wasn't he?
Apparently, Travis Stevens got his black belt in 18 months.
Okay.
Who
well,
was that? And what?
Under that,
that's bullshit. Who promoted him?
Yeah, well, Kyle Terra got his in 3 years.
Well, he's a freak.
Yeah, I mean, he
BJ
literally changed his living room like Rick did.
Let's walk this back.
Let's look at this.
We're not really talking years. We're talking hours on the mat.
Yeah, it changes.
And so if you're training 5 days a week, 8-hour days, or more theoretically.
Go ahead, Rick.
Great. That's a good product, John.
Yeah.
He brings up a lot of good stuff because people don't realize that like Tani Otoshi is dangerous, and I've seen people get fucked up by that in judo. Jumping guard is stupid dangerous. We've both seen people get fucked up by that.
Dude,
wildly hurt. And then everybody, I think, pretty well understands that Kani Basami is dangerous. Mm-hmm. Although the leg scissor that you do in jiu-jitsu is not really Kani Basami. Because Kani Basami is your leg is across their entire midsection. You don't have a leg up the middle. It's all the way across, and then you shoot your other one behind, and then you roll, and it's a takedown.
So it's like a sit. Okay, yeah.
So it's I don't know the correct Japanese for the one that you see in jiu-jitsu, but it's not a traditional. And they also do it. It's kind of like a breakdance move where they'll post to a hand, and then they'll shoot across, and then they'll scissor you down. but it's hours on the mat. Hey, there's Orlando Sanchez.
Yep, there's Orlando Sanchez.
4 years with his big fat ass.
This is a list of the top 16 people that got theirs in the shortest.
Getting beat up by Nicky Rod.
Yeah.
With a black belt when he was a blue belt.
Travis Stevens got his in 18 fucking months. Underneath that is a legit Kyle.
So, I'm sorry. So I wasn't. I just now put together who Travis Stevens is. Do you guys know who that is?
Nope, I don't.
I do not.
So he's like a judo world champion.
Oh.
Like a very, very high level competitive judo black belt, like a Olympic U.S.
Oh, well, yeah.
Here it is. He's under John. He was a U.S. Olympian.
Yeah, so
That's a little different.
fuck that guy. He was a black belt
for a few months
before he ever started.
He was a blue belt for 1 month and then purple for a few months. He has instructionals out.
Yeah, yeah, he's a monster.
Yeah. Kyle Terry got his in 3 years. Again,
Right.
Kyle
So
Terry's a fucking
yeah,
different kind of human being.
I mean, he dedicated his life for jiu-jitsu.
But again, it's hours on the mat. We do it in terms of years, and when we're talking in those terms of years, you're talking about your average person who does like 2 days a week, maybe 2 hours a pop. Even that I think is being kind of generous. I think most hobbyists put in like their hour for class and then piece the fuck out, and then they're doing 2 days a week, maybe an open mat every couple weeks or whatever. And so on that time frame and workload, you're talking 10 to 15 years.
Then you got BJ Penn, but everybody knows his story.
Baby J.
Yeah. Mads Bernal.
Never heard of him actually.
He's a black belt under Chris Houter. Houter's a legend.
Yeah, Chris Houter is another one of those old school guys.
Gio.
Really?
3 years
Yeah,
is
3 years.
suspiciously fast for him actually.
Yep, has this thing. Plays fourth at ADCC and won a couple of EBIs. Gabriel Moraes. He got his in 3 to 5 years. Mike Fowler got his in 3 to 5 years.
3.5. Oh, really?
Yeah, that's not a fucking...
3,5. Yeah.
Lloyd Irvin.
Woo! How bad do you want to be a champion?
Man,
How is he still around?
that's a trip back.
You don't know about Lloyd, do you?
I don't know.
Technically-
I know more about MMA than I do know about jiu-jitsu, but I am still a huge jiu-jitsu nerd, and
You know about Lloyd?
I don't know about Lloyd.
All right.
Oh, really? I never told you
Just
about
know
that.
that he's a piece of shit.
He's actually the first guy I learned how to do ankle lock from.
I'm surprised he doesn't. I better just. Are you gonna cut this part that's happening right now?
No, I'm not.
All right. Yeah. I'm gonna just stop myself right there then.
Fabio Scherner, UFC veteran who runs Gracie, Baja, and Oregon.
Oh wow! So Gio got his before.
Richie.
Yeah, Richie was also very fast at 4 years. DJ Jackson was like a D1 wrestler.
Yeah, DJ Jackson's
Dude
that
had
dude's insane.
he had no guard at black belt though.
No.
You don't have to have a guard at
you
black
don't.
belt.
Not when you're DJ Jackson.
Well, you can. Guard isn't necessarily necessary if you can wrestle up.
That's fair.
You just need something that fills that void. That's why if we ever institute a test here.
Did DJ Jackson was he a pioneer for wrestle ups?
I doubt it very
I
strongly.
mean, wrestling existed for a long time, so probably
Yes,
not.
I understand it, but I'm saying
Was he probably doing that stuff
because wrestle ups are just now
earlier on?
becoming a thing. You know what I mean? Wrestle ups are a thing that people are.
No, I think
The term is popularized.
Yes,
that's what you're looking at.
every wrestler who's ever
I don't think
crossed over was probably good for some
I
wrestling.
don't think he called it wrestling up.
Orlando Sanchez, the Cuban tree stump. He's Cuban.
How about that?
We got a stump here, ish.
We do have a stump here.
Well,
that dude is a motherfucker.
We don't, but we did.
That's why I said ish.
For a millisecond, I loved his wrestling class. I wish that would have kept going.
Yeah, he's really good at that. He's the guy who popped my upper rib out.
Vitor Ribeiro, which it's funny because Mario fought one of his black belts.
Who?
What's his face? Fucking hit you in the face.
Oh,
oh.
Remember that guy? Fucked you up?
He's a Vitor Shaolin guy.
There's your problem.
David Weintraub.
Yeah, David Weintraub. He's a super cool guy.
Mm-hmm.
By the way.
Yeah, he was super nice
He's
and special.
Earlier when you were talking about people who are dedicated to a path,
Mm-hmm.
and they find I watched that guy's stories, and it's literally just him eating certain things.
I don't remember having said that at all.
Well, he does 1 billion fucking pull-ups.
Yeah.
On his little pull-up bar and shit like that.
That dude's built like a caveman.
Yeah. Gunnar Nelson got his in 4 years.
It's a compliment.
Henzo Gracie black belt, apparently.
He looks a lot like Halleck.
This guy, who he is.
That's not a compliment.
Kid Dale.
Kid Dale's hilarious.
I forget he's a person.
He's the fastest black belt without any grappling experience before BJJ. He's also a wizard in regard to the conceptual approach to the gentle art.
I think he just was talking about it before some other people were talking about it.
That's the apparent top 16.
Fastest
black belt promotions
Yeah.
to BJJworld.com.
To me, the fastest you should be able to go is 6 years. For me, it depends on when you started counting.
That's also true.
If you start from the inception of me training Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu period, it's been about 13 years. If you start from when I switched to Nogi,
Yeah, that's a whole thing.
it's been like 8.
But then you also had a year off.
And I had a year layoff, and then arguably my promotion was delayed by about 2 years. Anyway, so theoretically I did it in 6.
Theoretically, you've only been fucking training Nogi for 6 years.
But
or training Jiu-Jitsu period for 6 years.
Doesn't matter.
Because you took 4 years off. You've been doing this for 10 years.
What's 12 minus
Yeah, he
4?
had a big
It'd be like 8 years.
hiatus. So we're going to have to hold you for another 4 years at Brown.
He's okay.
I'm down.
He's okay with that.
I'm along for that
He
ride.
keeps talking about how
You do that, and then you end up reverse psychologying Gary, and then he just gives it to you. Because I told him I was going to avoid him on purpose.
yeah, and that's why you got your surprise black belt.
Surprise!
Which he looks at fucking Jason and he was like, "Hey, record this. I'm gonna give Rick his black belt."
Dude.
Because I was all the way across the other side of the room. He could be like,
Literally nobody knew, not even Gary, that he was going to do that day.
Yeah, well, that's, I think, how it should be.
Yeah.
I don't like the promotion party thing. I think it's cool to have a party as a school, and then if you wanted to like retroactively recognize people who ranked up across that time period during that, dope.
I like it up to a certain
But I like
level.
spot promotions.
And they come in and out. And then how many people have you seen, Rick?
That's what we have camera. I don't know any of these fucking people anymore, man.
That's what I'm saying.
I'm
man.
semi-retired.
Yep. Well, semi. That's
Lucky for us.
Yeah, like semi-erect.
You have to wait until You gotta.
So that's why they call you semi.
They don't call you sensei. They call you semi.
That's right. Notice me, semi.
You gotta wait until I at least hit the ground before you completely retire.
Fuck, man, that's gonna be a long time, bro.
No,
Yeah.
I'm just trying to hold you in here.
I might die first.
I'm trying to milk you for as much time.
Alright, but you gotta stay in the state until you get
Dude.
your brown.
I'll be back, dude. I'm gonna try to come back.
The hard part is that, like,
No.
you know,
No.
a lot of people are like, oh yeah, you're the leg lock guy. But no, like, I'm teaching, I don't know, not leg lock stuff out there.
Oh, you are the leg lock
And I'm
guy.
asking for opinions on stuff, and Rick's like, this, and this. Oh yeah, this is how they used to do it. This is what I like. I'm like, yeah, all this makes sense.
Like it or not, I've learned leg locks from multiple different people.
Uh-huh.
And
Mario's the best.
no, your breakdown of
Shut the
breaking-
fuck up, dude.
your
God
breaking
damn.
mechanics-
You're definitely not gonna get a brown belt out of me like that.
your breaking mechanics differ. They're just different. And
I was about to say, I know it's weird to hear a blue belt talking about breaking mechanics, but go ahead.
Yeah. Well, like, I mean, and not that I'm like this fucking crazy, like, locking motherfucker, but like,
You mean they feel different?
they feel different and they.
Or I teach them different?
You also teach them differently. But whenever I apply.
Is it better or worse?
They're just built different.
Yeah, you're just built different.
That's cool.
When I apply things when you teach me things, I'm like, this doesn't feel like it's like super strong, or like this doesn't feel, but it's working and it's like breaking people. I'm like, oh shit.
I mean,
maybe I should calm down.
Hopefully not, but
Yeah. Well, I don't fully apply these things. Apart from like the things that he teaches me for straight ankles.
Yeah.
I don't fully apply those because I know those are gonna snap people's.
oh, you
fingers.
can blow somebody's. People don't realize how bad straight ankle locks are.
Yeah, that's a
I
weird
think
journey.
people sleep on them, man.
You can. This is another one of the things that I really stress, is not going until you have all of your pieces together. But you can, and people do go with just most of them, or just enough, or that kind of stuff. But like when I teach guard passing, or when I teach leg locks, I'm like, don't go until you have your jacket and your hat and fucking all the pieces you need to make what you're about to do work. Don't fucking go and leave 2 pieces behind. and then get out on a limb, and you're like, why the fuck isn't this heel hook working?
Yeah, no, I agree. That shit, I mean...
Because you suck, motherfucker.
It applies to the day that you told me you were like, a lot of people think that they know, like, how to put on a good heel hook.
They sure don't.
They fucking don't. And I've seen it. Like, I've witnessed the people.
Which is great, because then you can go out and fuck around with people and not be scared. Once you learn what a good one feels like, you know what a not good one feels like, and so you know you've got latitude.
And then that's how you fuck around and, get your ankle blown.
And that's what ends up. Oh no, we gotta retape the whole thing.
2 hours. And
that's how I end up getting busted up. I've never been hurt in an intense match against somebody good, except for Gary. Fucking me and him did dueling heel hooks at the same time. I got hurt real bad on that one.
That's why I get hurt, because he's always like, stop getting in leg shootouts, and I'm like, I love them.
Hey, same here.
Dad? I thought for some reason in the winter time, whenever I turn like 4 shades lighter, I wonder why.
A ghastly shade of white.
And I wonder why I like leg lock fucking battles so much. And
that's hilarious.
And apple juice.
Yeah, and apple juice. No, Dad. No, what were you saying?
Cigars.
That's the question.
Do you think injuries are a prerequisite to becoming like a black belt or to becoming more skilled at jiu-jitsu? Like, do you think it's possible to become
a healthy black belt?
Yeah.
Nope.
Let's put it that way. No. So I've only had 2.
It's just on virtue of the time that it takes. Mm-hmm. I'm not saying that there's a direct correlation between the two, but just the amount of hours.
Like, the more time you spend,
your sample size becomes so large. Mm-hmm. It's like if you're like, well, if we look at these 3 million people, can we find anybody that's got red hair? And it's like, fuck yeah, we'll find some people with red hair, and this big pile of people. Yeah. Yes, it just the amount of time it takes, and in general, you have to train with a degree of tenacity that skews more towards the competitive side. I'm not a competitive person. Mm-hmm. Well, I am a super competitive person, but I don't compete at jiu-jitsu or anything else except for video games.
Did you? We'll talk about
never once.
But you never done a comp?
Nope.
In jiu-jitsu?
Nope.
Never?
0.
What the fuck?
Isn't that crazy?
All my students were like, oh, you fuck everybody up. I was like, you don't know what you're talking about.
Hey, that laptop's about to die, by the way.
Yeah, I see that. So it's my phone.
Well, that's when we'll wrap it up then.
When this thing dies, that's when we wrap.
We'll first we'll get him stranded here. The car with the dead battery and the fucking burnt out laptop.
I don't even fucking have a car.
And then I'll kill the power.
It's not here.
Wait, who are we murdering? And am I the first?
You're dead, dude.
The last?
And then we'll go serial killer killing.
What's the signature? There's no piano wire, so I think I'm safe.
We don't need piano wire. Why would you need piano wire when the penis is same as mine? Rick's just gonna strangle you with my penis.
Oh no. That's
you're competitive.
That's psychologically distressing to me to think about.
So let's skip that.
Not really. I'm like a tryhard. Every game I play on hard. I've 100%ed a couple games.
What's your favorite?
My favorite game?
Yeah.
I'm not.
Well, what's your favorite genre?
I'm not prepared to say that I have. So it depends on what point of my life that you're going to. Back when I was like really into playing video games, I played a lot of Counter-Strike and StarCraft.
Hey.
And I wasn't very good at StarCraft. I was okay-ish at Counter-Strike, as okay as a white Midwestern man can be.
Some white Midwestern men that are pretty good at Counter-Strike.
I don't see any of them on fucking GSL or.
Well, they're half Mexicans. And they have,
anywho, so I got real into that. And then behind that, I got into a little bit more casual stuff like the Orange Box games. I 100%ed Portal. I 100%ed Half-Life 2. 100% Portal is fucking ridiculous. There's you have to redo the maps, and there's like restrictions on how many steps you can take, and stuff like that. And then to do Half-Life 2, there's an accomplishment. What do they call them? Trophies, I guess.
Trophies. Yeah.
Probably.
Accomplishment trophies.
Yeah, but there's a little lawn gnome that you encounter at the beginning of the game, and you have to take him throughout. So, have you played Half-Life 2?
Yes.
you have to get this gnome. It's pretty close to the beginning of the game, and then you have to carry it with you through the entirety of the game to the end where you launch a rocket. There's a little door on top of the rocket that you have to put the gnome inside and then shut it and then launch him with the rocket. What? And it's the little Rocket Man achievement. And I did that shit. I played Bioshock Infinite on 1999 mode and got through that.
We were just talking about Bioshock.
I love Bioshock.
Micah, my wife, likes Bioshock quite a bit. She tells me my memory sucks. I'm a terrible historian. But I know we started talking about video games and she got pissed off at me. She was like, we were talking about Bioshock Infinite, motherfucker.
Yeah.
We met at work. But yeah, did that. I'm pretty casual now, comparatively speaking. I play a lot of Binding of Isaac. And I keep 100%ing it, and then they keep releasing an expansion.
Yep.
And then I'll 100% the expansion, and then they just released another one not that long ago. And so now I'm slowly and painfully working my way through that, because Ed McMillan, who's the guy that made it, pardon me, he also made Super Meat Boy, is a fucking sadist. Like he looks at like the fans and he's like,
fuck you.
Pretty much.
Yeah, pretty much.
Like it's The Binding of Isaac is one of the trolliest games.
Yeah.
In all of existence.
Really fun,
but and that's what I found it. I don't remember. I think I saw it get played on GDQ or something like that, and I got interested in it, and so I decided to try it. And then when I got in there, it kind of it grabbed me, because each item you pick up changes the dude's appearance a little bit, and he'll have something like on theme with the item, and it's a lot of fun. And then I got Micah into it, and now she's got Repentance on her fucking Nintendo Switch. And so now it doesn't matter what's going on, she'll sit on the couch next to me, playing Repentance, Binding of Isaac on her fucking Switch, fucking breathing hard, and like, sweat's pouring down her head. She's concentrating so hard, shit.
Dude, some of those games really get my heart rate going.
And then I'll play on our PlayStation 4, I think is what we have, on our TV, and I'm working through my file on there, and I'm like, hey, you want to help me get some stamps? She's like, fuck you, I'm trying to get my own stamps.
Ooh,
on my Switch.
I don't know if you ever played, Rick, but I feel like a really frustrating but yet good game for you, because you seem like a person who has a lot of perseverance in him. Is the Bloodborne game.
I 100% of Bloodborne.
Oh, jeez.
Man.
Wow.
Those games. So
I platinumed it.
Well, okay.
It's the same thing.
Like the same shit.
Yeah.
Dude. This is fucking hard. It's like the Bloodborne game.
No, so here's a
Dark Souls game.
funny story about that. You have an idea where I work, and I worked with a guy there, and he had a copy of Bloodborne, and he didn't really get into it, because that's a hard game to like. It's once you get started, it hooks you, but it's hard to get started.
Mm-hmm.
the what is the beginning of the game called? Just show you what's going on with the game.
Tutorial.
The tutorial is hard.
Well, there kind of is none, right?
It's not a tutorial.
But so he ended up selling that to me for $10 or something cheap, and I grabbed it and it sat on my shelf.
Hell yeah.
For however long, and periodically I would try and play it, and just fucking running like face first into a brick wall, and then I would shut it off and not touch it for a while, and then after doing that a couple times, the one time I don't know what changed or how I did it, but I caught some traction, where I started to kind of understand how the game worked. It doesn't spoon feed you the system, but once you find it, it starts to become fun.
Yes, absolutely.
And you have to play it differently than you've played any other game in the past. But so I got into that. I caught traction. I became good at it. I never have done any Dark Souls. We don't have the hardware for Elden Ring. I haven't done Sekiro, but that looks interesting to me.
That was a fun game.
But so I ended up running through, and you can do passes through Bloodborne, and you get new game +1, +2, +3, and it's incrementally harder each time. They do more damage. All the enemies are harder. You get harder enemies in different spots every time you make a lap through it. And I was on like my 5th or my 6th lap, which is pretty close to the game getting as hard as it can get. And then I realized there was a fucking expansion that I didn't know about. And so I ran through the expansion with it being on New Game +6, where the volume is fucking cranked up to 11. You're meant to do it on your first playthrough, and like I read shit on the internet because I was getting fucking smashed. And they're like, you really want to do this on your first go round. Because by New Game 6, if you're not, having already been through it, you're going to get killed. And that was it's a nightmare, but I did it.
For sure.
No, yeah, we're saying goodbye. We've been saying goodbye.
Phase 1, hawk the shoes. Phase 2, say goodbye. Phase 3, profit.
Rick, we really appreciate you having you on, man.
Oh, is this on? Should I turn this on?
Yeah.
Oh, my bad. I turned it off.
On?
Yeah.
Well, it won't
probably
be
hear
any
it now.
different than the rest of the time you talk then.
If it was off the entire fucking
Where are you going?
That would be hilarious. Although, again, that would be like your last episode.
Yeah, I'll work on that.
You're alright.
I'll work on it.
You can't help who you are.
Yeah, I'm alright. I want to be good.
I heart your face.
You're really good, dude.
I guess alright's a step towards being good.
Oh, you guys are talking about this? I thought you guys were talking about jiu-jitsu. I was like,
No,
shit, I'm
dude.
trying to be both of you, but combined into one person.
Oh, good luck.
Come
Well,
on, man. Where's the inspiration?
You're closer to being like me.
Oh no, I'm not.
And my
I'm
baby
not.
feet.
I'm the wrong well to go to for that particular water.
Yeah, people have told me, they're like, dude, you feel exactly like Mario except less skilled. And I'm like, yeah.
Damn.
That's because I fucking train with him
Yeah.
every day.
24/7, 365. Sleep in the same bed.
Yeah. If we
Spoon. Shower together.
we would.
We have?
Put each other's shoes
On
on.
the same bed?
Matching shoes.
When?
I don't know, dude, that's gay.
If sleeping with Mario is wrong, I don't want to be right.
Rick. Again, for the 15th time. Thank you, man, for coming on and
Yeah.
giving us what you've given us. I mean, and not only that, but giving us what you have here.
So much more. So much knowledge and wisdom.
You've given, dude, you really
Lessons
have,
of life.
You really have contributed way more to jiu-jitsu than I thought that I was going to get out of it, honestly. And this won't be the last episode that you're on for sure.
Oh, dope.
For sure. Like, because I've got more apple juice to drink. You've got more apple juice to drink.
I could bring you some real expensive apple juice.
Well, maybe next time I'll bring you some buffalo apple juice. And
Okay, I got some $600 apple juice at home.
Man, this conversation's weirding me out because I really like regular apple juice, like real apple juice. Okay, so this is weirding me out.
And then Mario can.
What do you mean?
Yeah, dude. What are you drinking? Gold?
What do you mean, you
Shit?
people?
But yeah, man, we really do appreciate you coming on, man.
It's been a blast. I was glad to be here. Don't ever bring me and Gary on at the same time.
No, that's what I plan on doing. So.
No, it's like Batman and Bruce Wayne meeting. You can't. If we touch, we explode.
What if you guys touch then what'll happen?
Then you explode
Oh God.
Ooh, wait.
in your pants.